Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. So, devotees can share something from yesterday, 2-3 of you, before we proceed ahead with today's session.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhu.
You are sharing about the context and text. Very especially the context is very important. We should not see only the text and reach to the conclusion. So this you are like telling from this previous shlokas of this chapter that here whatever is given like for husband and wife, so we can consider ourselves as a disciple and guru relation.
Yes, Prabhu. Hari Bol. Thank you so much. So, any other devotee would like to share something?
Hare Krishna, bro.
Hare Krishna, bro.
Yes, Prabhuji. Either Madhav Charan or Keshan, any one of you.
Yeah. Actually, yesterday we were telling that Devabhuti, she got 9 daughters, but after that she was thinking that I did so much enjoyment, sense gratification. So now I need one male child. So for that, you told one who segregates so much that that child will like, if a woman segregates, then woman child will take birth. If a male, then male child will take birth. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, I think that he was telling that because she felt that she was in so much sense gratification. Their female child first took birth. And now she told, I need one more child, and she requested.
Yeah. She needed shelter. Yes, bro. Thank you so much. Yes, Krishna Abu, you wanted to speak something?
Yes, bro. We are discussing from unveiling the lotus feet about Gurujan Prabhu is quoting from Bhakti Sandarbha and Priti Sandarbha about the context of marriage of Kardamuni and Devabhuti. It's actually Daiva Chodita. It's orchestrated by the Lord. It's not some affair of a mundane couple, a married woman and trying to enjoy. It's actually orchestrated by the Lord Himself. So we need to understand from that point of view. Thank you.
Yes. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Yes, Raghav Charan Prabhu.
Prabhuji just mentioned yesterday we discussed that how the relationship between Kardama Muni and Mother Devaki was spiritual, and from the Falena Parichet, just like in the end we can see as soon as his business was over, immediately he was ready to renounce everything. From that we can understand that the relationship between them was spiritual, not though it looked like a material relation, person engrossed in sense gratification, but it was not that.
Yes. As Gurujan was also quoting in the beginning that Kardamuni is asking Shukla, the incarnation of Lord Vishnu, for a wife to beget the progeny. Is not very exalted desire, but still he has approached Lord Vishnu. Akama sarva kama moksha kama va udayadi. And therefore, because he has approached Lord Vishnu, he will eventually get purified. But ultimately, out of moral principles to please Lord Brahma, he had to accept that. But glory with Kardamuni is he approached Lord Vishnu. And many Prabhupada Prabhu also mentions he was not a conditioned soul. He was much, almost not like any of the demigods, Lokpalas. He was much above them. So that point is very much elaborately discussed here. Yes. So let's continue with today's chapter. Compared to yesterday's chapter, today's chapter is very, very straightforward, no much of the contradictions, direct as it is, because Lord is going to appear now. So Maitri Vacha Nirvedavadinim evam Manor Duhitaram Muni Dayalu Shalinam Aha Shuklabi Vyartam Smaram. Yes. So, Madhav Bro, numbering. So we'll start, I think, with Nityanand Charan Bro. We can start with till the time provision numbers.
Recalling the words of Lord Vishnu, the merciful sage Kardam replied as follows to Swayambhu Manu's praiseworthy daughter Devhuti, who was speaking words full of renunciation.
Yes. So she was speaking words of renunciation. Manor Duhitaram Muni. Manor, Manu's Duhitaram daughter, Muni, Kardam Muni, immediately told Dayalu Shalinam Aha. He became immediately merciful upon the worthy of praise. Shuklavi Vyartam Smaram. Because he remembered Shukla. Shukla is the incarnation of Lord Vishnu, or the name of Lord Vishnu, who had forecasted his married life, his conjugal life, what is going to happen. After 9 daughters, Karda Muni is going to appear. Kapil Dev is going to appear to Deviti's home. That is the last line. Shuklavi Vyaharitam Smaram. He remembered that, calling the of Lord Vishnu, started speaking to Devuti. Rishi Ruacha Makido Rajaputritam Atmanam Prati Anindite Bhagavamste Ksharo Garvam Adurat Samprapatshyate. Yes. Nityanand, continue reading.
The sage, do not be disappointed with yourself. O princess, you are actually praiseworthy. The infallible Supreme Personality of Godhead will shortly enter your womb as your son.
So he's recalling what Lord had told to Kardamuni, that don't be sorry. Kardamuni encouraged wife not to be sorry, thinking herself unfortunate, because Supreme Person of Godhead was going to come from her body. Drita Vratasi Badram Te Damena Niyamena Cha Tapo Dravina Danaischa Shraddaya Ishwaram. Yes.
You have undertaken sacred vows. God will bless you. Hence, you should worship the Lord with great faith through sensory control, religious observances, austerities, and gifts of your money in charity.
Yes, true. You can read the purport.
In order to spiritually advance or to achieve the mercy of the Lord, one must be self-controlled in the following manner. He must be restrained in sense gratification and must follow the rules and regulations of religious principles. Without austerity and penance and without sacrificing one's riches, one cannot achieve the mercy of the Supreme Lord. Kardam Muni advised his wife, you have to factually engage in devotional service with austerity and penance, following the religious principles and giving charity. Then the Supreme Lord will be pleased with you and he will come as the son.
Yes. So Lord Kardamuni is telling Devati, factually engage in bhakti, and then Lord will be attracted. Bhaktiyamam Ananyava Shakyam. Yes, 4th sloka. Satvayāradita Shuklo Vitanvan Mama Kamyasha Chetatte Hridaya Grantim Audaryo Brahma Bhavanaha.
The personality of Godhead being worshipped by you will spread my name and fame. He will vanquish the knot of your heart by becoming your son and teaching knowledge of Brahman.
We'll just go to the shloka. It's an important shloka. Satvyaradita Shuklo, by worshipping Shukla, Vitanvan Mamaka Yasha, Mamaka, Kardamuni string, will spread my glories. Chetatte hridaya granthim. So hard knot of heart, hard knot which is present in the heart. Basically, what is that hard knot? Attachment. We are attached to our friends, relatives. The attachment becomes solid when one gets married with a woman or comes in contact with the opposite sex. So, Audharya Brahma Bhavana. But that attachment can be cut only by spiritual knowledge, knowledge of the Brahman. So that is what Kapil Muni is going to come and instruct Devuti, and through Devuti to the whole world, the knowledge of Sankhya philosophy, which is the knowledge of both material and spiritual world. Yes. Nityan we can read the purport.
Starting.
Starting, full purport.
When the Supreme Personality of Godhead comes to disseminate spiritual knowledge for the benefit of all people, he generally descends as the son of a devotee, being pleased by the devotee's devotional service. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is the father of everyone. No one, therefore, is his father, but by his inconceivable energy, he accepts some of the devotees as his parents and descendants. It is explained here that spiritual knowledge vanquishes the knot of the heart. Matter and spirit are knotted by false ego. This identification of oneself with matter, which is called Hridaya Granthi, exists for all conditioned souls, and it becomes more and more tightened when there is too much affection for sex life. The explanation was given by Lord Rishabh to his sons that this material world is an atmosphere of attraction between male and female. That attraction takes the shape of a knot in the heart, and by material affection, it becomes still more tight. For people who hanker after material possessions, society, friendship, and love, this note of affection becomes very strong. It is only by Brahma Bhavana, the instruction which, by which spiritual knowledge is enhanced, that the knot in the heart is cut to pieces. No material weapon is needed to cut this knot, but it requires bona fide spiritual instruction. Kardam Muni instructed his wife, Devhuti, that the Lord would appear as her son and disseminate spiritual knowledge to cut the knot of material.
So, this knot, hard knot, which is highlighted in yellow here, the attraction between the male and female, that is the climax of that knot. So it becomes very difficult, but only by his instruction, when one starts applying, practicing Krishna consciousness, slowly and steadily, one can untie that knot. And therefore, Kapil Dev's main purpose for descending in this material world is that. So, in the first 4 verses, Vishwanath Chandra Thakur commentary I'm going to share now. We have covered first 4 verses. So, in the first verse, he speaks, Vishwanath Chandra Thakur explains the whole summary of this chapter. He tells this chapter describes birth of Kapila, first 9 verses, the words of Brahma, 9 to 20, 24 verses, the marriage of Kardama's daughters, and Kardama living, the marriage of Kardama daughter goes from 24 to I think 35, and 35 to 39. Kardama praises. 30 to 35 Kardama offer prayers, and 35 to 39, 40 Lord assures Kardama that he will take care of Devuti and he will also grant liberation to him. And from 41 to 47 Kardama's renunciation. And again that verse is reiterated here. You can remember the number Srimad Bhagavatam 3rd canto 21st 32. This is having a mirror image. If you make 1, so before that is 32 and after that is 32, 3.21.32. This sloka indicates Sahaham Swamsha Kalaya Padvirena Mahamune Tavakshetra Deva Hutyam Praneshe Tattva Samhitam. Oh great sage, I will take birth in your wife Devuti as an expanded form and will write the Tattva Samhita. So this is a promise of Shukla to Kardam Muni in 21st chapter 32nd verse. So we can remember this number because it will help us to, when we go through the verses, it will help us to understand. Because this promise will be reiterated by Kardam Muni in his prayer. Again, Kapil Dev will again reiterate in verse number 40 to Devuti that he will take care of Devuti by explaining Tattva Samhita just before Kardam Muni is going to renounce. Because Kardam Muni just stayed back with Devuti because she is alone, and her second award, that is spiritual advancement or liberation, has to be bestowed on her. So again, this verse 3rd 21-32, the same promise again is repeated by Lord Shukla in the form of Kapila Muni to Kardam Muni, Kapil Dev to Kardam Muni, so that he can peacefully go and renounce the world. And that time from 41 to 47, the description of renunciation of Kardam Muni continues. So in he mentions like the Devuti is not one. She was very pious. She had done strong vows in previous life, and you have strong determination also in this life. This will be auspicious for you because Lord is appearing in her not because suddenly by chance, but she has been practicing, performing bhakti since many lives. And then in 4th verse, he is writing commentary that he will cut material bondage, the knot of ahankar in the heart. Audharya means a son born in the womb. Brahma Bhavana means teacher of Brahman. So he will appear. So he'll teach about the spiritual knowledge, not this material knowledge. Because there's another Kapila who just speaks about atheistic Sankhya. So next shloka is very important. I'll just discuss Vishwanath Chakra Thakur's commentary and then go to the this. So here, Dehuti api sandesham Gauravena Prajapate Samyak Shraddhaya Purusham Utastam Abhajad Gurum. So here, if it's the translation, having complete faith and instruction of Kardama, Dehuti worshipped the changeless Supreme Lord, her future Guru, with veneration. So here, Kapil Dev is mentioned as Abhajad Guru, Utastam Abhajad Guru. And he's going to give the instruction. As per the instruction of her husband, Kardam Muni, Dehuti has worshipped, and her son will become her Guru. And therefore, Kapil Dev's Purusham is mentioned as Abhajada Guru. Here it's mentioned, Abhajada Guru. And 6th shlok verse mentions, after a long time, Supreme Lord Madhusudana, who is like fire in the wood, controlled by the strength of Bhakti of Kardama, made his appearance. Long time is mentioned. So example is given of Agnir Iva Dharuni, like the fire in the wood. What is the example of fire in the wood? Fire is by default present in the wood. So Vishwanath Chakra Thakur is telling the Lord was already situated as Antarayami in Devuti, like fire in wood. It then appeared externally as her son. So this is the thoughts. So we'll just go back to the Bhaktivedanta purports. 5th verse. Devahuti yapi sandesham Gauravena Prajapati Samyak Shraddhaya Purusham Bhutastam Abhajad Gurum. Yes. Keshav Kripa Prabhu, you can read.
Yes, Prabhu. Sri Maitreya said, Devahuti was fully faithful and respectful toward the direction of her husband Kardama, who was one of the Prajapatis or generators of human beings in the universe. O great says, she thus began to worship the master of the universe, the supreme personality of Godhead, who is situated in everyone's heart.
So she was fully faithful and respectful towards her husband, who was Prajapati, and thus she began to worship the Lord who is present in her heart. Yes, to continue the purport, very important purport.
This is the process of spiritual realization. One has to receive instruction from a bona fide spiritual master. Kardama Muni was Devhuti's husband, but because he instructed her on how to achieve spiritual perfection, he naturally became her spiritual master also. There are many instances wherein the husband becomes the spiritual master. The Lord Shiva also is the spiritual master of his consort Parvati. A husband should be so enlightened that he should become the spiritual master of his wife in order to enlighten her in the advancement of Krishna consciousness. Generally, Stree or woman is less intelligent than man. Therefore, if the husband is intelligent enough, the woman gets a great opportunity for spiritual enlightenment. Here it is clearly said, Samyak Shraddhaya, that with great faith one should receive knowledge from the spiritual master and with great faith execute the performance of service. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in his commentary on Bhagavad Gita has especially stressed the instruction of the spiritual master. One should accept the instruction of a spiritual master as one's life and soul. Whether one is liberated or not liberated, one should execute the instruction of the spiritual master with great faith. It is also stated that the Lord is situated in everyone's heart. One does not have to seek the Lord outside. He is already there. One simply has to concentrate on one's worship in good faith, as instructed by the bona fide spiritual master, and one's effort will come out successfully. It is also clear that the Supreme Personality of Godhead does not appear as an ordinary child. He appears as he, as stated in Bhagavad Gita. He appears by his own internal potency, Atma Maya. And how does he appear? He appears when pleased by the worship of a devotee. A devotee may ask the Lord to appear as her son. The Lord is already sitting within the heart, and if he comes out from the body of a devotee, it does not mean that the particular woman became his mother in the material sense. He is always there, but in order to please his devotee, he appears as her son.
Yes. So here, Lord Kapil Dev is already present as Shiva Vishnu in the heart of all living entities. The same Lord, like Prabhupada is writing purport here, one doesn't have to seek the Lord outside, is already there. So in all of our life also, the Lord is present within our heart. So like many times, sincere, serious, and no ulterior motives. So what is the meaning of it? Because Lord is already present in our heart as Paramatma, so we can try to do many things, but we can't hide anything from the Lord. Therefore, honesty is the first principle. We don't have to become great devotees. We have to become simple good devotees, genuine practitioners of bhakti. If we become like that, then we can go back to Godhead. But on the other hand, because the whole world propaganda is made in such a way that even in our movement and outside movement also, apparently quote unquote appears that when you become very accomplished, when you are doing big services, you know, doing something great, that is tagged as advancement. But yes, apart from that, even a simple housewife who is sincerely practicing Krishna consciousness, she can also be advanced. Therefore, Prabhupada writes in teachings of Queen Kunti, I think so. It is better to a street sweeper, a sincere street sweeper is better than charlatan and meditator. So what it means, that simple practice of Krishna consciousness, genuine practice of Krishna consciousness, sincere, serious, and no ulterior motive. That is what Prabhupada is mentioning here in the purport. One simply has to concentrate on one's good worship in good faith, as instructed by the bona fide spiritual master, and one's effort will come out successful. And as Lord is appearing from the womb of Devuti to mention Tattva Samhita, for a devotee who is very sincere, Yasya deve para bhakti yata deve tata guru tasya arti katita artha prakashante mahatmanam. So for a genuine practitioner of Krishna consciousness, all the imports of Vedas are explained within the heart by the super soul, even if one is not illiterate. We saw that in the purport. So here, Kapil Dev is Kapil Muni, who is going to profound Sankhya philosophy, is going to appear in the womb of Devuti to cut the hard knot in her heart and also explain this Tattva Samhita to people in general. So next shloka. Tasyam bahutite kale Bhagavan Madhusudana Kardamam Viryamapanno Jajne Agnir Ivadaruni. Yes. So I think all of you have got a chat. The numbering is there in it. Dena Narayan Prabhu.
Yes, Fuji.
Yes, please.
1 minute. After many years, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Madhusudana, the killer of the demon Madhu, having entered the Shiman of Kadamba appeared in Dehuti just as fire come from the wood in a sacrifice.
Yes. So basically, Lord appears in different way. When Lord Krishna appears, we have read in Krishna book, also in 10th canto, Lord appears in the heart of Vasudev because already is present as Paramatma in the heart of Vasudev. Then he gets transferred from the heart of Vasudev to the heart of Devaki. Already is present in the heart of Devaki as Paramatma. But the Supreme Person of Godhead, Lord Krishna, then appears from the womb of Devaki. So that is mentioned there. And there, if you read the purport there, Prabhupada mentions Lord doesn't appear as ordinary man and woman, but the secretion of the semen. Lord is divine. So that is what Prabhupada mentions there. And then, as Lord Narasimhadev appeared from the pillar, Varadevi appeared from the nose of Brahma. So whenever Lord appears from all these three instances, in this case, Lord is going to appear from the semen of Kardam Muni. So it's not that Lord will not appear from the semen of his devotee. That makes Lord restricted. So Lord is completely independent and Swarat. He can appear from anywhere. With any of his senses, he can do any of the functions. Similarly, Lord can appear from any material condition, but he will remain Swarat. He will be untouched by the modes of material nature. So that is what Prabhupada is going to stress in this purport. Yes, Prabhu, read whatever is there in highlighted.
Okay. It is clearly stated here that the Lord is always the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Although he appeared as the son of Kadamuni, fire is already present in a wood, but by certain process the fire is kindled. Similarly, Lord is all pervading. He is everywhere, and since he may come out from anything, he appeared in his devotee's semen, just as
Yes.
just
Next,
as
yeah, because abhi simple verses rahenge. So next devotee also can read now. Who's in second number? Keshaya Prabhu can read. Blue one.
This manifests his full independence to act in any way. It doesn't mean that he is an ordinary living entity forced to take birth in a certain type of womb. Lord Narasimha appeared from the pillar of Hiranyakashipu's palace. Lord Varaha appeared from the nostrils of Brahma, and Lord Kapila appeared from the semen of Kardama. But this does not mean that the nostril of Brahma or the pillar of Hiranyakashipu's palace or the semen of Kardamani is the source of the appearance of the Lord. The Lord is always the Lord.
Yes. Next Puja. Bhagavan Madhusudana.
Bhagavan Madhusudana. He is the killer of all kinds of demons. He always remains the Lord even if he appears as the son of a particular devotee. The cardamom is significant, for it indicates that the Lord had some devotional affection or relationship in devotional service with the Kardama and Devagati.
Yes, but we should not mistakenly understand that he was born just like an ordinary living entity from the semen of Kardam Muni. So this pastime indicates his independent nature. He can manifest from anywhere. Avadayam sada vyomni vaditrani gana gana gayanti tam sma gandharva nrityanti apsara somuda. Yes.
At the time of his descent on earth, demigods in the form of raining clouds sounded musical instruments in the sky. The celestial musicians, the Gandharvas, sang the glories of the Lord, while celestial dancing girls, known as Apsaras, danced in joyful ecstasy.
Yes, there is celebration in the heaven, celestial kingdom. Gandharvas, Apsaras, everybody is rejoicing the Lord's appearance. Petu sumanaso divya kecharer apavarjita prasheduscha dishak sarva ambamsi shamanamsi cha.
At the time of the Lord's appearance, the demigods flying freely in the sky showered flowers. All the directions, all the waters, and everyone's mind became very satisfied.
Yes, so Prabhupada mentions the purport that these living entities, Siddhaloka, they can travel all throughout the space without any impediment. And they started showering flower on the earth when Kapila appeared as the son of Kardama. And there is no, even when in earth, when we want to travel in sky, there is impediments. So Prabhupada says there is no impediments for the upper planetary system. Tat Kardamashram padam sarasvatya parishritam swayambhu shakam rishibir marichi adivir avayat. So now this appearance of Brahma, appearance of Kardama in the home of Kardama, Lord Kapila has appeared, 1 to 9 verses, and now Brahma is going to appear on the scene. So Brahma is going to come. So Prabhupada writes very nice purports on this, telling that Brahma, he is a liberated soul, quoting Janma Karma Chame Divyam, because he knows the Lord's Janma and Karma, because he has come. As soon as Lord appears, he knows where he has appeared, and because he knows the position of the Lord, he comes there to take his darshan and to glorify the mother and father. And therefore Brahma is liberated. So Prabhupada mentions. Yes, next devotee.
Brahma, the firstborn living being, went along with Marichi and other sages to the place of Kardama's heritage, which was surrounded by river Saraswati.
Yes, read the purport.
Brahma is called Swayambhu because he is not born of any material father or mother. He is the first living creature and is born from the lotus which grows from the abdomen of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Garvodakshaya Vishnu. Therefore, he is called Swayambhu, self-born.
So Brahma comes to this place of Kardama's ashram on the bank of Saraswati. In the shloka, it is mentioned, yes, Brahma, along with Marichi and other sages. So now Marichi and other sages, why he is surrounded by so many people? Not only Marichi, Narad Muni is there, Kumara is there. Basically, he brings his whole associates. But especially Marichi is mentioned in the shloka because there are 9 sons of Brahma who are unmarried. They are all Prajapatis. And the 9 daughters of Kardam Muni, they are unmarried. So Brahma has brought all Marichi and other sages. And other sages include 8 more brothers and 5 celibate monks, including Narad Muni and Chatushkumaras. But that is not mentioned here, Narada or Chatushkumaras, Marichi and other sages, to the place of Kardam Muni's hermitage. So when Brahma comes, he also comes for taking darshan, to glorify, and also to perform his managerial duties of expanding the progeny of the material world. That will come in future verses. Bhagavantam Parabrahmam Satvenam Shena Satruhan Tattva Shankya Na Vijnapte Jatam Vidvana Ajaswarat. So this shloka, this Ajaswarat is referring to Brahma. And Prabhupada is going to glorify Brahmaji Because Bhagavantam para Brahmam Sattvena Amshena Satruhan. Sattvena Amshena. So this Shuddha Sattva, but the Lord Kapila is going to appear is Amshena. There is a Lord Krishna appears, expands into Balramji. Balramji expands into Sankarshana, second Sankarshana. So the Sva Amsha form, and there is Vibhin Amsha. In Chaitanya Charitamrit, Madhya Leela, 22nd chapter, there it is mentioned this hierarchy of Swamsha and Vibhinnamsha. Swamsha category are Lord's expansions. Vibhinnamsha are the living entities. Swamsha, the expansion, the portion of the expansion is called as Sattvenamshena. So is a partial expansion, is a plenary portion. So Kapil Dev is not full-fledged supreme person of Godhead, but he is an expansion of the expansion. But Prabhupada is going to write in the purport. That doesn't mean that he is something less than supreme person of God, Lord Krishna. It is like the original candle and the second candle. So he has all the opulences. He has all the potencies, but for telling the original candle is different from the first or second candle. Yes, true. Read the translation. Who's the next? Fifth number. Janardan to sixth.
O killer of the enemy, the unborn Lord Brahman, who is almost independent in acquiring knowledge, to understand that a portion of Supreme Personality of Godhead in this quality of pure existence has appeared in the womb of Devahuti, just to explain the complete state of knowledge known as Sankhya Yoga.
Yes, true. Please read the purport.
In Bhagavad Gita 15th chapter, it is stated that the Lord himself is the compiler of the Vedanta Sutra, and he is perfect knower of the Vedanta Sutra. Similarly, the Sankhya philosophy is compiled by Supreme Personality of Godhead in his appearance as Kapila. There is an imitation Kapila who has a Sankhya philosophical system, but Kapila, the incarnation of God, is different from that Kapila. Kapila, the son of Vardha Muni, in his systems of Sankhya philosophy, very explicitly explained not only the material world but also the spiritual world. Brahma could understand this fact because he was Swarat, almost independent in receiving knowledge. He is called Swarat because he did not go any school or college to learn, but learned everything from within. Because Brahma is the first living creature within the universe, he had no teacher. His teacher was the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself, who is seated in the heart of every living creature. Brahma acquired knowledge directly from the Supreme Lord within the heart. Therefore, he is sometimes called Swarat and Jal. Another important point is stated here. Sattvanam Sena. When the Supreme Personality of Godhead appears, he brings with him all paraphernalia of Vaikuntha. Therefore, his name, his form, his qualities, his paraphernalia, and his entourage all belong to the transcendental world. Real goodness is in the transcendental world. Here in the middle world, the qualities of goodness is not pure. Goodness may exist, but there must also be some tinges of passion and ignorance. In the spiritual world, the unalloyed qualities of goodness prevails. There, the quality of goodness is called Shuddha, pure goodness. Another name of Shuddha is Vasudeva, because the word is born from Vasudeva. Another meaning is that when one is purely situated in the qualities of goodness, he can understand the form, name, qualities, paraphernalia, and entourage of the Supreme Personality of God. The word Amsen also indicates that the Supreme Personality of God, Krishna, appeared as Kapila Deva, portion of his portion. God expands either as Kala or as Amsha. Amsha means direct expansion, and Kala means expansion of expansion. There is no difference between the expansion of expansion, and the Supreme Personality of God directly. And there is no difference between one candle and another candle. But still, the candle from which the other are lit is called the original. Krishna, therefore, is called the Parabrahman, or the ultimate Godhead and the cause of all causes.
Sabhajayan Vishuddena Chetasa Tachikirshitam Prarishyamaner Ashubhi Kardamam Chedam Abhyadat. Yes. Next.
After worshipping the Supreme Lord with gladdened senses and a pure heart for his intended activities as an incarnation, Brahma spoke as follows to Kardama and Devhuti.
Read the purport.
Brahma, therefore, is a liberated soul. Although he is in charge of this material world, he is not exactly like the common living entity. Since he is liberated from the majority of the follies of the common living entities, he was in knowledge of the appearance of the Supreme Personality Godhead, and therefore worshipped the Lord's activities, and with a glad heart, he also praised Karda Muni, because the Supreme Personality Godhead, as Kapila, had appeared as his son. One who can become the father of the Supreme Personality Godhead is certainly a great devotee.
Yes, continue reading, bro.
There is a verse spoken by a Brahmana in which he says that he does not know what the Vedas and what the Puranas are. But while others might be interested in the Vedas or Puranas, he is interested in Nanda Maharaj, who appeared as the father of Krishna. The Brahmana wanted to worship Nanda Maharaj because the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as a child, crawled in the yard of his house. These are some of the good sentiments of devotees. If a recognized devotee brings forth the Supreme Personality of Godhead as his son, how he therefore not only worshipped the incarnation of Godhead Kapila, but also praised his so-called father Kardama Muni.
Yeah. So here Prabhupada quotes 4th chapter, Janma Karma Chime Devyam. So anybody who knows birth and pastimes of the Lord as divine, they will not appear again. So Brahma could understand, therefore is liberated. Therefore is quoting that. And Brahma and his parents of the Lord Lord also glorified. So Nanda is glorified here. So similarly, there is a parallel between Nanda Maharaj and Kardama Muni made in this verse. Brahma Uvacha Preme Pachitistatata Kalpita Nirvelikataha Yanme Sang Jagre Vakyam Bhavan Manada Manayam. Yes.
Lord Brahma said, "My dear son Kardama, since you have completely accepted my instructions without duplicity, showing them proper respect, you have worshipped me properly. Whatever instruction you took from me, you have carried out, and thereby you have honored me."
Yes, so here there is a mention of a father and a son, and a spiritual master and a disciple. And Brahma happened to be father of Kardama Muni and also spiritual master of Kardama Muni. And in this verse and the next verse, the purport which Prabhupada gives are really heavy for some of us, or most of us, who have been really pampered in our system of the, because here in the next verse Prabhupada is going to write, when father or a spiritual master says something, someone has to just follow it without any questioning anything. But anyways, Mother Shankar can read the purport.
Lord Brahma, as the first living entity within the universe, is supposed to be the spiritual master of everyone, and he is also the father, the creator of all beings. Kardama Muni is one of the Prajapatis, or creators of the living entities, and he is also a son of Brahma. Brahma praises Kardama because he carried out the order of the spiritual master in toto and without cheating. A conditioned soul in the material world has the disqualification of cheating. He has 4 disqualifications. He is sure to commit mistakes, sure to be illusion, is prone to cheat others, and his senses are imperfect. But if one carries out the order of the spiritual master by disciplic succession or the parampara system, he overcomes the 4 defects. Therefore, knowledge received from the bona fide spiritual master is not cheating. Any other knowledge which is manufactured by the conditioned soul is cheating only. Brahma knew well that Kardama Muni exactly carried out the instructions received from him and that he actually honored his spiritual master. To honor the spiritual master means to carry out his instructions word for word.
Yes. Therefore, there are many disciples. Whenever Prabhupada used to come, they used to come and tell Jai Prabhupada, Haribol, everything. And therefore, Prabhupada had given specific instruction to different disciples. So there is a disciple who is like a bedbug. A bedbug in Vasasan, when a speaker is sitting on Vasasan, it only sucks, it is sitting on the top of the speaker, but it only sucks the blood. So similarly, a disciple can become a Bharagrahi or a Saragrahi. And here, Kardam Muni is a Saragrahi because Brahma instructed him and he fulfilled the instruction. So my question to all of you is, here repeatedly Prabhupada is telling that Brahma's instruction is followed in toto by Kardam Muni. What is that instruction? Nowhere it is mentioned in instruction. Only it's again and again, the whole purpose until now. Prabhupada is mentioning, Kardam Muni exactly followed the instruction of Brahma and Brahma became so happy. So what is the instruction that Kardam Muni has followed? Yes, someone can tell. You can raise your hands. Okay, chat. Janardhan has sent a chat. Thank you, Janardhan. Somebody else? So what is that instruction?
Two devotees raised a hand.
Okay. Yes. Raghav Charan.
Because since he is one of the Prajapati, it is expected by Brahmaji that he should help him in generating the population and giving bodies to the living entities. So in that way, he has followed it by producing daughters, 9 daughters. In that way, the population of the world will.
Very nice. Yes. So Brahma is very happy with him, not because he just produced 9 daughters, as Raghav Charan was told, and also Lord Kapila also has appeared as a son. Lord himself has appeared, and many of the devotees also have given the chant, good progeny, that the instruction of Brahmaji to him was progeny, to increase the progeny of the world, and that Kardam Muni could do that. So therefore, Brahma is very pleased with Kardam Muni. So he has not only produced just good progeny in the form of 9 daughters, but also the Lord himself has appeared to, one thing is physical progeny be increasing. Like we tell, collect, get the milk, get the milk, get the milk. And then there's a boiling the milk. So increasing 9 daughters is expanding, getting the milk. And begetting Kapila Muni is like, boiling the milk. Because you'll get a lot of population, but the population doesn't become Krishna conscious. Then it becomes Asuric. And therefore, Kapil Dev is going to instruct Tattva Samhita and is going to train all the living entities by giving this Tattva Samhita, by which they will become purified in their consciousness and become devotees. And therefore, Kardam Muni did both. He gave birth to 9 daughters and he has given birth to Kapil Muni also, the incarnation who can give the knowledge of Tattva Samhita by which the living entities can become Krishna conscious. Etavatteva sushrusha karya pitari putrakai bhaddam iti anumanyeta gauravena gururvacha. Yes, this verse, the purport of this verse is really amazing. Yes, next.
Sons out to render service to their father exactly to this extent. One should obey the command of his father or spiritual master with due deference, saying, yes, sir. Or what? Should I read properly?
Yes, yes.
2 words in this verse are very important. One word is pitari and another word is guruho. The son or disciple should accept the words of his spiritual master and father without hesitation. Whatever the father and spiritual master order should be taken without arguments. Yes, there should be no instance in which the disciple or the son says, this is not correct, I cannot carry it out. When he says that, he is fallen. The father and the spiritual master are on the same platform because the spiritual master is the second father. The higher classes are called Dvija, twice born. Whenever there is a question of birth, there must be a father. The first birth is made possible by the actual father, and the second birth is made possible by the spiritual master. Sometimes the father and the spiritual master may be the same man, and sometimes they are different men. In any case, the order of the father or the order of the spiritual master must be carried out without hesitation, with an immediate yes. There should be no argument. That is real service to the father and to the spiritual master. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has stated that the order of spiritual master is the life and soul of the disciples. As a man cannot separate his life from his body, a disciple cannot separate the order of his spiritual master from his life. If a disciple follows the instruction of the spiritual master in that way, he is sure to become perfect. This is confirmed in the Upanishads. The import of Vedic instructions is revealed automatically only to one who has implicit faith in the Supreme Personality of Godhead and in his spiritual master. One may be materially considered an illiterate man, but if he has faith in the spiritual master as well as in the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then the meaning of scriptural revelation is immediately manifested before him.
So therefore, it's very important here. The spiritual master, father, there should be no instance in which disciple or the son says, this is not correct, I cannot carry out. When he says, that is fallen. So can you think of some instances where father asked something and the children became fallen? Yes. So here Prabhupada is writing that when a disciple doesn't agree, disciple or a son doesn't agree, then he becomes fallen. So can you think of some instances where it happened? They disagreed and they were fallen, and then someone agreed and he earned the blessing of the superior. Okay, Janandan Pushling Yati, can you elaborate on it?
He asked for the youth, and I think Guru gave him, he was blessed, he became the king of the whole.
And only Yadu did not give because Krishna is going to appear, therefore there was genuine reason, therefore it could not become fallen. Very nice. Thank you so much. Very good. Any other instances? Many instances are there. At least I'm remembering 2-3 instances more. From 9th canto. He has told from 9th canto. In 9th canto only there are instances. Father and a spiritual master. Both are one. Yes, Nityan Chandu.
Not that canto. I remember about Eklavya and about Dronacharya.
Okay, yes. I can elaborate.
Like Eklavya, Dronacharya refuted Eklavya not to teach him the military science, but still he wanted to learn. So he somehow forcibly, on the name of his guru as Dronacharya, he learned on his own. But on the other, and that's why he was then, the thumb was taken by Dronacharya of him, he was punished. But on the other hand, the Pandavas, so they were, Dronacharya agreed and he taught him the best of the perfect military science. So they were blessed with the mercy.
Ekalavya did not learn on his own. He took help of some ghostly spirits, tantra, and through that the evil influences, he learned that practice, and therefore he was dangerous to the king. That is what Bhakti Saraswati Maharaj mentions in his commentary on that, why Dronacharya cut his feet. But anyways, instance is the right one. Yes, any other instance? Yes, Raghav Charan too.
Bali Maharaj.
Okay. He rejected his guru. So
he didn't follow, but still he pleased the Lord.
So that is what the contradiction. So the guru or the father should be in line with the instructions of the Supreme Person of Godhead. So in this case, Supreme Personality of Godhead himself came and he was asking. And therefore, when Bali Maharaj rejected his guru to please the Supreme Person of Godhead, although he rejected the guru, then Bali Maharaj, Vamandev himself asks Bali Maharaj, Sukracharya, what your disciple did, Bali Maharaj, is right or wrong? Then Mantatas Chantatas Siddham, he tells that everything becomes complete when your name is chanted. But in this case, Lord himself, or the representative of the Lord himself, they are coming and they are in the higher position than the father, the spiritual master. Then when we don't accept, then we don't get that tag of getting fallen. Yes, very nice. Any other more instances?
Indra and Vitrasur's episode.
Yeah. Okay.
In that, Indra was already informed that if we took to Vishwarup as a priest, as a guru, then he may give some of the portion of oblations or like to the Asuras also, because he belongs to both the families. Like, so he was already informed, but he didn't follow, and he killed Vishwarup. And in the end, then
so then that Karma was running behind him in the form of that woman, old woman, to embrace him, and then he went and hid behind that Narayan Sar's lake in the place where Lakshmi was meditating. Yes, that is one of the way where Indra is accepting him as Purohit, but he's killing him, and then he gets that karmic reaction for that. Okay, one more instance I'm searching where a very, very exalted, powerful Keshwanya Purusling, Madhavendra Puri, Ishwar Puri, Ramchandra Puri. Yes, exactly, instructions are not known. Yes, Madhavendra Puri and Ramchandra Puri. Ramchandra Puri was trying to know that Madhavendra Puri's realization at the end of his life separation in the mood of gopis to be. He is telling he's lamenting that I wasted my life. So he's saying, yes, you wasted your life because you're not made on Brahman. It was a big offense. So he fell down. So Chaitanya Charitamrita mentions that there is no mention after that. After he offends Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the only mention is that then he left, then he went away. He just drifted away from the Vaishnava devotees. Only that much is mentioned about Ramchandra Puri. That means Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is not ready to mention also what is the consequence. So yeah, Madhavendra Puri, Ramchandra Puri, and Ishwar Puri. Ishwar Puri on the other hand is served menially, like Devuti is serving Kardam Muni. Much more than that he served, and then he got the realization and became the spiritual master of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Yes, Rajat Prabhu.
Prabhuji, Parshuram, he listened to his father and killed his mother and brothers.
This is what I was expecting. Parshuram happened to be the son of Jamadagni. Jamadagni is the spiritual master, and he's also the father. And when his wife Renuka, when she was carrying the pot, and she happened to see the reflection of Vidyadhara's enjoying, and for that moment her chastity was broken, and that could be sensed by Parshuram, by Jamadagni, and it was very subtle, but Jamadagni could see from his foresightedness that she has just contemplated on that scene, and then immediately she became late for that water for the sacrifice. Then immediately he told all his elder brothers, cut the head of your mother. All of them denied, and he instructed Parshuram to cut the head of mother and all brothers, the remaining three, and Parshuram did that. And because Parshuram knew that the potency of his spiritual master and his father, that is instructing, he has instructed me to cut, that means he has a potency also to bring them alive. And therefore when Jamadagni became very pleased, he told Parshuram, so ask what you want, ask any boon from you, it's completely satisfied me. That time Parshuram asks, please bring back to life my mother and remaining brothers. So that comes in 9th canto. Very nice. This I was looking for. But anyways, it was a nice journey that we got to know all these pastimes. So this is a lesson we should learn, that in general, we should try our best to come to this ideal platform of accepting the superior's instruction. Unless otherwise they are not deviating from the principles of Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna. So let's go to next shloka. Vatsasu Adhyamaha Sargam Etam Prabhavesvai Brahmishyanti Anekada.
Lord Brahma then praised Kardama Muni's 9 daughters, saying, all you twin-waisted daughters are certainly very chaste. I am sure they will increase this creation by their own descendants in various ways.
So Prabhupada writes, the word Sumadhyama means a good daughter of a beautiful woman. That is the meaning of it. So Brahma is glorifying 9 daughters. Why is glorifying? Because Brahma has brought Marichi and remaining brothers to get married with them. अतस्त्वं श्री ऋषि मुख्योभ्या यथा शीलं यथा रुचि आत्मजा परिद्ये अध्ये विस्तृण्णीहि यशो भुवि. Yes.
Therefore, today, please give away your daughters to the foremost of the sages, with due regard for the girls' temperaments and likings, and thereby spread your fame all over the universe.
Yes, Prabhu. You can read the principal Rishi's name.
The 9 principal rishis or sages are Marichi, Atri, Angira, Pulasya, Pulaha, Kratu, Bhrigu, Vashishta, and Atharva. All
Yes.
these rishis,
Continue.
yes, good.
Please continue.
All these rishis are most important, and Brahma desired that the 9 daughters already born of Kardam Muni be handed over to them. Here, 2 words are used very significantly, Yatha Sheelam and Yatha Ruchi. The daughters should be handed over to the respective rishis, not blindly, but according to the combination of character and taste. That is the art of combining a man and woman.
Yes.
Man and woman.
Prabhupada is mentioning here in this whole purport the art of combining a man and woman. Yata Sheelam, Yata Ruchi. So basically, Prabhupada is going to tell that even during the beginning, the dawn of the creation, also what right now people generally have this matchmaking, they have this matrimony board, this board, that board, they have a then the astrological checkup where they find match the horoscope of boy and girl. So Prabhupada says, continues to tell that this was not done under the direction of the respective parents. Parents used to astrologically determine the character and taste of the boy and the girl, and when they correspond, the match was selected. The system was also advised in the beginning of the creation by Brahma. Your daughter should be handed over to the rishis according to the taste and character. And Prabhupada goes to explain that there is a Manushyagan, then there is Asurgan. Some girl in the Asurgan should be married to Asurgan. The girl in the Manushyagan should be married to the boy in the Manushyagan, so that their conjugal life continues. So human beings, and then Prabhupada in the last paragraph is going to mention that in the age of Kali, people get married based on principle. The boy and girl are just pleased, they get married, and when the deficiency, there is separation. That is not actual marriage, but a combination of man and woman like cats and dogs. Therefore, children produced in the modern age are not exactly human beings. So Prabhupada recommends what should be done. First, they should be trained, and then they should be made Krishna consciousness. Human beings must be twice born. A child is first born of a good father and mother, and then is born again of a spiritual master and the Vedas. So their mother and father, they give physical birth, then spiritual master and the Vedic literature. So Vedic literature becomes the mother, spiritual master becomes the guru, he becomes the second father. So father and mother, they just give body, physical birth, but the birth of the consciousness, the birth of the subtle body which is there, training of the subtle body, and like from the womb of Devhuti or from the womb of Devaki, Lord Krishna is appearing. So that kind of birth of Lord within our heart takes place by the process of initiation, and the mother is the Vedic literature. Therefore, the hearing is very, very important process. So at the end, in next 37, 39 shloka, Kardam Muni is going to go and take sannyas. There also Prabhupada mentions this thing of hearing, the potency of importance of hearing. So according to Vedic system of marriage, producing children, every man and woman was enlightened in spiritual knowledge, and at that time of their combination to produce a child, everything was scrutinizingly and scientifically done. So this is one of the aspect of Varnashram, where how man and woman should come together. Yesterday also you were seeing, and how they should come together so that their material life is taken care, by which they are stabilized materially, so that the spiritual life is taken care. Vedaham avatirnam swamayaya bhutanam sevadim deham Vibranam Kapilam Mune. Yes, devotee can read. Next devotee.
I know that the original Supreme Personality of Godhead has now appeared as an incarnation by his internal energy. He is the bestower of all that is desired by the living entities, and he has now assumed the body of Kapil Muni.
Yes. So Prabhupada writes here, Purusham Avtirinam Samaya. Supreme Person of Godhead is everlastingly, eternally the form of Purusha, that is predominant or enjoyer. And when he appears, he never accepts anything of this material energy. Swamaya, by his own internal potency, indicates that Lord, his personal internal potency, whereas in material world is a manifestation of this material potency. But when Lord comes, whenever the Supreme Person God descends, he comes in his own energy. He may assume the body of a human being, but that body is not material. Prabhupada is mentioning here. And then he's commenting on the verse Shevadim. Shevadim means that he is the original bestower of all the necessities of life upon the living entities. Nityo Nityanam, Chetana Chetananam, Eko Bhuvanam, Yovidati Kamanam. So Supreme is also a living entity because he is supplying so many, he's a Nitya, he's also eternal and is taking care of so many eternals. So God means is taking care of so many necessities doesn't mean that he's impersonal, he's a person. And as we are individual, Supreme Lord is also individual, but he is a supreme individual. That is the difference between God and ordinary living entities. He's Eko, we are Bahunam, and he's maintaining us. So he is also personal, he's not impersonal. Dhyana Vidhyana Yogena Karmana Udaranjata Hiranyakesha Padmaksha Padma Mudra Padambujaha. Yes, Dinath Narayan. Anybody else is remaining to read? Padhiye.
By mystic yoga and the practical application of knowledge from the scriptures, Kapil Muni, who is the characterized by his golden hair, his eyes just like lotus petals, and his lotus feet, which bears the marks of the lotus flowers, will uproot the deep-rooted desire for work in the material world.
Yes. So here the description of Kapila Muni is given here. He is having golden hairs, characterized by his golden. If you see that teachings of Lord Kapila, you can mention this detail there. Lord Kapila sitting on a higher Vasasan with his raised hand, having a golden flowing hair. And down, Mother Dehuti sitting on a small couch with folded hands, eagerly bending forward with her pallu on her head. She's trying to hear. So the description is there. His eyes like just like lotus petal and his lotus feet. And what are the marks? Lotus flower on his lotus feet. And what is the purpose is going to come for? Teaching Sankhya to uproot the deep-rooted desire for work in this material world. So Prabhupada speaks about how a living entity wants to become happy by karma, but karma entangles him. And how the philosophy of Kapila Dev will uproot that karma bandhan. Prabhupada mentions here. Yes, Dinath Prabhu. Can you read this in yellow?
Yes, he will present the philosophy of Sankara, Sankhya in such a way that by studying his philosophy, people will be able to uproot the deep-rooted desire for karma, fruitive activities. Everyone in this material world engage in achieving the fruits of his labor. A man tries to be happy by achieving the fruits of his own honest labor, but actually he becomes more and more entangled. One cannot get out of this entanglement unless he has perfect knowledge or devotional service.
Yes. Can read in blue.
Okay. His bodily features are also described here. Herein, Gyan entailed reviving knowledge from the scriptures through the spiritual master by disciplic succession. कुछ हो गया नेट का लग रहा है
Now we can read.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Last one.
Ah.
Gyan means knowledge received through disciplic succession from the scriptures, and Gyan means practical application of such knowledge. Kapila Muni's Sankhya system of philosophy is based on Gyan and Gyan.
Yes. So Prabhupada is writing Gyan means the knowledge which is received through disciplic succession. Before that, here which is not highlighted, Prabhupada mentions that generally he compares the knowledge as the modern day man is trying to do some research, that is called as Gyan. But the definition of Gyan means that which is coming in disciplic succession, that which is highlighted in blue. Gyana entails receiving knowledge from the scriptures so the spiritual master by disciplic succession. So when we read Prabhupada books, hear lectures of Guru, Hari Guru, Vaishnavas, mentioned from Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, so that is called as Jnana. And when we start practicing Krishna consciousness, when in the course of our service, when we start applying to the degree we increase of service, whatever time we have, to the degree we engage ourselves in this 9 processes of Bhakti, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atma Nivedanam. To that degree, time we are engaged in that with consciousness, to that degree, we get the realization. And that aspect is called as Vijnana. So Vishwan Chakravarti Thakur is commenting on this shloka 17th. The knowledge of impersonal Brahman as Jnana and the knowledge of the Supreme Personality of Godhead as Vijnana. So that is his commentary on this Jnana and Vijnana. So directly we'll go to the translation now. Yeah. Next. So we can read.
Lord Brahma then told Devahuti, my dear daughter of Manu, the same Supreme Personality of Godhead who killed the demon Kaitaba is now within your womb. He will cut off all the knots of your ignorance and doubt. Then he will travel all over the world.
Yeah. So Brahma is reassuring what Kardama Muni had told initially. So again in this shloka of 18th, the same things are being reassured to Kardama, what Kardama had told to Devahuti. Again, Brahma is reassuring here in the 17th shloka, in the 18th shloka. Yes, bro, please read the purport.
The highlighted one?
Highlighted one.
That knot is also called Ahankar, the junction of matter and spirit. By proper knowledge received from the scriptures in disciplic succession, and by proper application of that knowledge, one can free himself from this binding combination of matter and spirit. Brahma assures Devahuti that her son will enlighten her.
And after enlightening her, he will travel all over the world distributing the system of Sankhya. So basically, identification with the body is called as avidya, and avidya leads to samshaya granthi, doubt. And because of doubt, one identifies the material world, and that ahankar is developed. And that can be only cut by the instruction of a spiritual master. That's called as Brahma Vidya. So the word samshaya means doubtful knowledge. Speculative, pseudo yogic knowledge is all doubtful. So Prabhupada is writing here, mental speculators think similarly, but they are all doubtful. Real knowledge is expounded in Bhagavad Gita. Just become Krishna conscious, just worship man manava man mad bhakto mad gyaji mam namasko. That is real knowledge. Anyone who follows that system becomes perfect without a doubt. Yes, translation. So Brahma is reassuring to Devahuti that Kapil Dev will instruct the Brahma Vidya, that Tattva Samhita, cut her knot, and not only liberate her, but also the whole world. Yes, next shloka. Yes, Prabhu.
Your son will be the head of all the perfected souls. He will be approved by the acharyas, expert in disseminating real knowledge. And among the people, he will be celebrated by the name Kapila as the son of Devahuti. He will increase your fame.
Yes, we will recite this shloka, these 2 shlokas. Esha manavite garbham pravishta kaitabadarana kaitavardanaha avidya samshaya grantim chitvagam vicharishati ayam siddha ganadisha shankyacharya shushammataha loke kapila iti akyam gantate kirti vardanaha. Yes, to read the highlighted in. You can read the full purport.
Sankhya philosophy is the philosophical system enunciated by Kapila, the son of Devhuti. The other Kapila, who is not the son of Devhuti, is an imitation. This is the statement of Brahma, and because we belong to Brahma's disciplic succession, we should accept his statement that the real Kapila is the son of Devhuti, and that real Sankhya philosophy is the system of philosophy which he introduced and which will be accepted by the acharyas, the directors of the spiritual discipline. The word Suman Mata means accepted by persons who are counted upon to give their good
opinion.
opinion.
Yeah, so here in the shloka, Ayam Siddha Ganadesha Shankya Acharya Susammataha, who has been accepted by, so Prabhupada means this Susammata, Sankhya Acharya Susammata, accepted by persons who are counted upon to give their good opinion. Therefore, this Kapila Muni who is accepted is a right Kapila, because those who are Atma with, in the second canto, the first chapter, the second verse, that Shrotavyadi Rajendra Dunam Santi Sahasrasa Apashyatam Atma Tvam Graheshu Grahamedina. Before Atma with Samvata Pumsam. So people who know the welfare of the living entity, they ask the questions which are related to the soul. But those who are bodily absorbed, their questions are different. So similar, this Sankhya Acharya Kapila, who is he? Loke Kapila iti Akyayam. He is accepted by people who have good opinion. Ganta te Kirti Vardanaha. So he is son of Devuti, was appeared here. So why Prabhupada is writing here that is the statement of Brahmaji that he is a correct Kapila, or he is the right Kapila, who is the son of Devuti, and that real Sankhya philosophy, system of philosophy which he has introduced, will be accepted by the Acharyas, right of the spiritual discipline. Because even Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, in his commentary to this 19th verse, is mentioning a shloka, mentioning the real Kapila and the Kapila who is not real. Like Paundraka had appeared, explaining that he is Lord himself. Similarly, during as Kapila has appeared here, there was another duplicate Kapila who had appeared. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur mentions that. This is shloka number, yeah, this one. Raghav Chandru can read this one.
This person is approved. There is another perfect sage called Kapila, founder of the Sankhya philosophy, who is not well approved. He will preach philosophy contrary to the theistic philosophy of the Vedas. It is said in the Padma Puran.
Kapilo Vasudevakyas Shankyam Jagadaha Brahma Divyascha Devebhyo Bhragva Divyastataivacha Tataiva Surya Sarva Vedarte Upabhrimitam Sarva Veda Viruddhancha Kapilo Anyo Jagadaha Shankyam Asuraye Anyasmai Uttaraka Paribhrimitaha. So you're able to see Sarva Veda Viruddha Cha Kapilo Anyo Jagadaha. Please read the translation book.
Kapila or Vasudev spoke the real Sankhya, which is filled with the meaning of all the Vedas to Brahma and others, the Devatas, the sages such as Bhrigu, and to a person called Asuri. Another Kapila spoke Sankhya, which is contrary to the Vedas, filled with bad logic, to another person called Asuri.
Yes, so the first three lines indicate the actual Kapila Dev who is mentioned in the shloka, and the last three lines indicate the Kapila who spoke the contrary Sankhya philosophy to the same person with the bad logic. That was a different person called as Asuri. So in both Kapilas have spoken this knowledge to person called as Asuri, to Brahma, to Kumaras. So one has spoken the theistic Sankhya philosophy, another Kapila has spoken atheistic Sankhya philosophy. That is what Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is mentioning. Therefore, that is the meaning of Susammataha, that people of good opinion, they've accepted him. So Brahma and other Kumaras and all the Acharyas, they accepted this Kapila. Yes, Maitri Vacha Tavashvasya jagat srashta hamso hamsena yanena tridama paramam yaho. Tridama is beyond the Swargaloka. Paramam yayo, that is Paramishtyam, that is Brahmaloka. So Brahmaji went to Brahmaloka on his hamso hamsena yanena. So he went on his hamsa to Brahmaloka with whom? Kumarai saha Naradaha, with 4 Kumaras and with Narada. Tava Ashvasya Jagat Srishta. After encouraging Kardamuni, after encouraging Dehuti, after telling about the characteristics of Lord Kapila, and after matchmaking the 9 daughters with his 9 sons, now when remaining 9 sages headed by Atri and others, they were about to marry with 9 daughters. But the Naishtika Brahmacharis like Narada Muni and Kumaras, they had no work there. And therefore, Prabhupada was going to write in the purport that Brahma, along with Narada and along with the 4 Kumaras, they went back to Brahmaloka, but remaining sages, they remained there because they were about to marry. Yes, Prabhu, you can read the purport. Next, you would.
The words Hamsena, Yanena are very significant here. Hamsayana, the airplane by which Brahma travels all over outer space, resembles a swan. Brahma is also known as Hamsa because he can grasp the essence of everything. His abode is called Tridhama Paramam. There are 3 divisions of the universe: the upper planetary system, the middle planetary system, and the lower planetary system. But his abode is above even Siddhaloka, the upper planetary system. He returned to his own planet with the 4 Kumaras and Narada because they were not going to be married. The other rishis who came with him, such as Marichi and Atri, remained there because they were to be married to the daughters of Kardam. But his other sons, Sanat, Sanak, Sananand, and Sanatan, and Narada went back with him in his swan-shaped airplane. The 4 Kumaras and Narada are Naishtika Brahmacharis. Naishtika Brahmachari refers to one who never wastes his semen at any time. They were not to attend the marriage ceremony of their other brothers, Marichi and the other sages, and therefore they went back with their father Hamsa.
Yeah, so Prabhupada defines Hamsa as Hamsa Vahana, the plane, and also Hamsa means if you give the swan milk mixed water, it separates water from the milk, and therefore Brahmaji could grasp the essence of everything, because as soon as Kapila is born, he has appeared in the hermitage of Kardamuni. Therefore, he knows Janma Karma Cha Me Divyam. Therefore, he is also called as Hamsa. And he took Narada Muni and 4 Kumaras because they were Naishtik Brahmacharis. Gate satta dathokshakta kardamam stena chodita etoditam swadduhitra pradad vishvashrajam tata. Yes, Prabhu.
O Vidura, after departure of Brahma, Kardam Muni, having been ordered by Brahma, handed over his 9 daughters as instructed to the 9 great sages who created the population of the world.
Yes. Marichaye kalam pradad, so Marichi is married to Kalam. Anusuyam attatreya, Anusaya to Atre Rishi. Shraddham Angiras Yachat, Shraddha to Angira. Pulastyaha Havir Bhum, so Havir is married to Pulastyaha. Pulahaya Gatim Yuktam, Kartavecha Kriyam Satim, Kyatim Cha Bragave Yachad, Vasishtayapi Arundatim. So Vasishta Arundati, Kyatim Bhrugu, Kartave Kriyam, Satim, and Kratu, and Pulaya and Gatim. Yes. Yes, Prabhu.
Kardamuni handed over his daughter Kala to Marichi and another daughter Anasuya to Atri. He delivered Shraddha to Angira and Hamir Bhu to Pulatsya. He delivered Gati to Pulaha, the chaste Kriya to Kratu, Kyati to Brigu, and Arundhati to Vasishtha.
Yes. Atarvena dadachandim yaya yajño vitanyate viprarashavan kratodvahan sadaran samalalayat.
He delivered Shanti to Atharva. Because of Shanti, sacrificial ceremonies are well performed. Thus he got the 4 Brahmanas married, and he maintained them along with their wives.
Tata sadrishya kshapta kritadhara nimantritam pratishthanandim apanna swam ashrama mandalam.
Thus wherein the sage took leave of Kardama and departed full of joy, each for his own hermitage, O Vidura.
Yes, thus when sages took leave of the Kardama sages, they left Kardama Rishi ashram from Saraswati and departed to their own hermitage along with their wives. O Vidura. Sachavattirnam triyugam Sachavattirnam triyugam Adnyaya Vipu Darashabham Vivikta Upasangamya Pranamya Samabhashataha. Yeah.
When Kardama Muni understood that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the chief of all the demigods, Vishnu, has descended, Kardama approached him in a secluded place, offered obeisances, and spoke as follows.
So now here we have finished two sections. The first section is Kardama Muni pacifying Devuti and informing her that Lord Kapila is going to appear from a room. So please do bhakti. And eventually Lord Kapila appears. And from 10 to 25, Brahma appearing there, glorifying Kardama, glorifying Devuti, telling about the characteristics of Kapila, and then taking his sons back to Brahmaloka while arranging the marriage of Yata Ruchi Yata Matim to the 9 daughters of Kardamuni. So that is over now. The third section is, now Lord has appeared. The marriage of 9 daughters is over. Dehuti and Kardama along with Kapil Muni, Kapil, they were alone in the hermitage. So now Lord, in front of Lord Kapil Dev, who had appeared as Shukla in 21st chapter, who had shed tears for Kardam Muni. So Kardam Muni is now excited, he's delighted, he has got the thumbs up from his father Brahmaji, and he's happy, and he has completed his dharma, so dharma is grasta. So now he wants to proceed towards the sannyas ashrama. And therefore he's approaching Kapil Dev and he's going to pray. He's offering prayers from 26 to 34. 35 is going to offer prayers at the lotus feet of Kapil Dev. Yes, please read.
Lord Vishnu is called Triyuga.
Yes.
He appears in 3 yugas, Satya, Treta and Dwapar. But in Kali Yuga, he does not appear. From the prayers of Prahlad Maharaj, however, we understand that he appears garbed as a devotee in Kali Yuga. Lord Chaitanya is that devotee. Krishna appeared in the form of a devotee, but although he never disclosed himself, Rupa Goswami could understand his identity. For the Lord cannot hide himself from a pure devotee. Rupa Goswami detected him when he offered his first obeisances to Lord Chaitanya. He knew that Lord Chaitanya was Krishna himself, therefore offered his obeisances with the following words. I offer my respects to Krishna, who has now appeared as Lord Chaitanya. This is also confirmed in the prayers of Prahlad Maharaj. In Kali Yuga, he does not directly appear, but he appears as a devotee. Vishnu therefore is known as Triyuga. Another explanation of Triyuga is that he has 3 pairs of divine attributes, namely power and affluence, piety and renown, and wisdom and dispassion. According to Sridhar Swami, his 3 pairs of opulences are complete riches and complete strength, complete fame and complete beauty, and complete wisdom and complete renunciation. There are different interpretations of Triyuga, but it is accepted by all learned scholars that Triyuga means Vishnu. When Kardama Muni understood that his son Kapila was Vishnu himself, he wanted to offer his obeisances. Therefore, when Kapila was alone, he offered his respects and expressed his mind as follows.
Yes. So here Triyuga defines, in the shloka it is coming here. Sa Chavatirnam. Sa Cha Avatirnam Triyugam. So Triyugam is, he appears in Satya Treta Dwapar. Again, Prahlad also quoting it in his prayers in Jambudvipa. 518, 5th canto 18 chapter. At Triyugam, that refers to Lord Chaitanya. That he appears in the form of his devotee. And Triyuga second definition is, he has 6 opulences, 3 pairs of divine attributes. Prabhupada is quoting Sridhar Swami for that. So this is the definition of Triyuga, interpretation from learned scholars. Triyuga generally refers to Vishnu. Yes. Aho papachya mananam niraye swaya amangalai kalena bhuyasa nunam prasiddhamtye devataha. Yes, Prabhu. Next.
Karma Muni said, "Oh, after a long time, the demigods of this universe have become pleased with the suffering souls who are in material entanglement because of their own mistakes."
Yes. So these are prayers of Kardam Muni. First, he's offering us Tri Yuga. Then he is telling that demigods have become pleased because living entity is suffering from so many lifetimes. Now Kapil Muni has appeared, so he will give the antiseptic of Sankhya philosophy for them, by which they can escape from the karma siddhanta of karma mimamsa. They can escape that and become liberated and go back to Godhead. Yes, Prabhu, please read this highlighted in blue.
This material world is a place for suffering, which is due to the misdeeds of the inhabitants, the conditioned souls themselves. The suffering are not extraneously imposed upon them. Rather, the conditioned souls create their own suffering by their own acts. In the forest, fire takes place automatically. It is not that someone has to go there and set a fire. Because of friction among various trees, fire occurs automatically. When there is too much heat from the forest fire of this material world, the demigods, including Brahma himself, being harassed, approach the Supreme Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and appeal to him to alleviate the condition. Then the Supreme Personality of Godhead descends. In other words, when the demigods become distressed by the suffering of the conditioned soul, they approach the Lord to remedy the suffering, and the personality of Godhead descends. When the Lord descends, all the demigods become enlivened.
Yeah. So here, what is the lesson we can learn from this purport is this material world is dukkhalaya mahashashvatam, and whatever suffering we are undergoing, it is because of our own choice, are not extraneous, purposely here. Earth condition creates their own suffering by their own acts. Just example is given of forest fire. Therefore, one has to become tattenukampa susamikshamanam bunjana evato katam vipakam tadvavagavatu jadam manaste mukti sadabhaya. Therefore, this one lifetime, whatever is there, we have to endure. And if we become grateful and accept it, no, this is my own. For example is given when we are alone, most of the times when in some centers or when you are at the preaching center or your voice center or in some temple, this cook is not there, people have gone to Kartik Yatra and we don't know much cooking. When we come to temple in kitchen, when something is less, little salt is less, okay, this is little sweet is there, little khatta, and we tell to others, lighting prasad. But when you are alone, only two devotees are there, and when we cook prasad, and imagine if I have cooked prasad, and salt is less in that, or some spice is less in that, and there's another devotee friend of mine who is eating prasad with me. He may not tell me, Prabhu, something is because he's knowing that I only have cooked it. But when I'm eating the prasad which I have cooked in my voice center compared to the prasad in temple, it is not of that caliber, but we will gratefully accept it. But when we come to other place, when we go to yatra, when there is little something less, so just leave it and throw it in dustbin. But the same thing when we have cooked ourselves, we have to eat it because there is no other option, because we will remain hungry. So similarly, because we know it very clearly that I have cooked this prasad, and we are always insecure that we are cautious that nobody should tell something is less. And sometimes when some salt is less, spice is less, we become extra cautious that if somebody tells, and we will start telling something is less, it was not good, and then we keep on, whether others eat or not, at least we fully complete whatever we have cooked. Same thing with our life. Hare Krishna. Is it audible?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, bro.
Because the cursor is, my laptop cursor is rotating. So similarly, so from this purport, we have to understand whatever material conditions we are in, whatever spiritual conditions we are in, it is because of our own practices in the previous life and in this life. And we have to accept it without blaming anyone. And we can express, we can try to rectify, but the onus is on us. But if we can accept gratefully, the acceptance can elevate us by to go back home, back to Godhead. But rather than that, we don't accept and we start blaming or cursing or showing fingers to others. Then again, we create another entanglement, another cycle of birth and death. Therefore, this purport Prabhupada is very nicely explaining. When Prabhupada opened Krishna Consciousness Temple, I was in Vrindavan for the Prabhupada disappearance day after during Radheshampu's Yatra. Everybody has gone to Nandgam and I was there hearing the offering of Satadanva Prabhu. And he gave a very offering. All of us know that when Prabhupada opened the ISKCON temple, he had taken sannyas. And he had not, sannyas means had no connection to the wife, no connection to the children. So he had sons, he had daughters. When he opened the ISKCON temple, so much property in the name of ISKCON. So his elder son, he went and inspired his wife to put a case on Prabhupada. Prabhupada had opened Mayapur temple. Prabhupada had opened Vrindavan temple. And then his elder son, with the help of his mother, put a case on Prabhupada, telling that this property of ISKCON, whatever is there, should come to us. And Satadanva Prabhu in Kolkata used to go for the hearings of that cases. And he used to always pray. And Prabhupada continued preaching throughout his 1977. It was in 1975, 1976. And 77, Prabhupada left the world in Vrindavan. But still the case was going on. And Satadanva Prabhu used to go from 1975 to 1981, 82, 83, 84, 85. And at some point of time, Satadanva Prabhu went with the beads and met the wife of Prabhupada. She was almost on bed. She was not in a good condition. And she gave the beads and told her to chant. And that time, she was inspired to take the case back. So this was our founder Acharya's condition, material condition, when he preached Krishna consciousness all over the world, 108 temples, spiritually accomplishing everything. But if you see what was underlying factor, what was happening in his own personal life, it never seems from reading his biography of Prabhupada Leelamrita or something that Prabhupada was going through all those things. But later on, by Satadanva's orchestration, the case was taken back, and then the MVT Trust was given the responsibility for taking care of the relatives of Prabhupada. So this is what goes through. So it's not that when we are devotees that everything will be fair weather, everything will be cozy, everything will be nice, like like there's something called honeymoon period. When husband and wife get married, they go to honeymoon. It's like everything looks like star, everything is so nice, and suddenly after that the real thing starts. So similarly, when it comes to Krishna consciousness, first 5 years, 10 years of ashram is like honeymoon time. First 2-3 years is like that. All devotees greet us. We also get services. So many people get added. We're getting accomplishment. And again, the time comes after 5-10 years, 15 years down the line, when the real thing starts. So during that time, if you don't understand what is true practice, what is true success, success in Krishna consciousness is not just accomplishment. It is, Prabhupada writes, it depends upon the attitude of the follower. And from Prabhupada, the founder Acharya's lifetime of life, only we can see that he had to go through so many turbulent things, but he was unshaken by that activities which were happening in his personal life or previous ashram life. He kept on going. And therefore, this Bhakti Vaibhav purports, Prabhupada is not writing, he is writing with full realization. This is one of the offering which I heard, which I wanted to share for this purport. Should we have a break now for 10 minutes? What all of you feel? If you want to have a break, then again we'll have to extend till 1:45. Otherwise, if you want to complete by 1:30, then we continue. What all of you feel? Madhu Chandru?
I think we can continue, bro.
Okay, bro. Fine. Yes. So we'll go quickly now.
Do you need some?
No, I don't know anything. I'm comfortable. Like yesterday, but yesterday I forgot to ask all of you. Hare Krishna. So we'll just quickly go with the translation now. So this shloka which is there now, Bhujanma vipakvena samyak yoga samadhinaha drashtum yatante yataha yataya Sunyagareshu Yatpadam. This is exactly like the Bhavanam Janmanam Ante verse. Yes. Next devotee can read.
After many births, mature yogis by complete trance in yoga endeavor in secluded places to see the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Yes. Read the highlighted thing, Prabhuji.
Complete practice of yoga means bhakti yoga. Unless one comes to the point of bhakti yoga or surrender onto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one's yoga practice is not complete. This same point is corroborated in the Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Bahunam Janmanam.
Yes. In
It is,
yeah.
it is not that after one practices some sitting postures, he immediately becomes perfect. One cannot practice yoga in a city or in a public park and declare that he has become God simply by some exchange of dollars. This is all bogus propaganda. Those who are actually yogis practice in a secluded place, and after many births, they become provided they surrender onto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is the definition of yoga.
So yoga is not something cheap. For one has to practice it for a long time, dirgha kala, then become mature, and yogi has to practice in a secluded place. It's not that you give some dollars and you become God or you see God. So this is the next prayer which is being offered. Saya eva bhagavan adya helanam na ganaya na griheshu jato gramyanam yasvanam pakshaposhanaha. Yes. Next devotee.
Not considering the negligence of ordinary householders like us, that very same Supreme Personality of Godhead appears in our homes just to support his devotees.
Yes, so Kapil, Karda Muni is offering. He first offered prayers as Tri Yuga, second he offered as demigods are placed, then yogis after many births. Now he's telling the special mercy. No, to see the Lord it's so difficult, but out of affection you appeared in my home. Bro, please read the purport.
A full purport, Praji, or
highlighted?
In other words, devotional service to the Lord is so easy that even a householder can see the Supreme Personality of Godhead as one of the members of his household, as his son, as Karda Muni experienced. He was a householder, although a yogi, but he had the incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Kapil Muni, as his son.
So why is telling? Because the devotees, yeah, first paragraph is there. You read this first, not highlighted also. Devotees are so affectionate. This one.
Yes. Devotees are so affectionate toward the personality of Godhead that although he does not appear before those who practice yoga in a secluded place, even for many births, he agrees to appear in a householder's home where devotees engage in devotional service without material.
That is what is the glory of Kapil Muni. Therefore, Karda Muni is offering that not considering the negligence of ordinary householders, you are appearing just to support his devotees. Kardam and devotee are devotees. Therefore, Lord appeared. So, Gurujanpu writes in his Unveiling to the Lotus Feet, he mentions this shloka that what bhakti is so powerful. And he mentions this paragraph which are highlighted in yellow. You can read the whole paragraph, bro.
Devotional service is such a powerful transcendental method that it surpasses all other methods of transcendental realization. The Lord says, therefore, that he lives neither in Vaikuntha nor in the heart of yogi, but he lives where his pure devotees always are always chanting and glorifying. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is known as Bhakta Vatsala. He is never described as a Jnani Vatsala or Yogi Vatsala. He is always described as a Bhakta Vatsala because he is more inclined toward his devotees than toward other transcendentalists. In Bhagavad Gita, it is confirmed that only a devotee can understand him as he is. Bhaktya mam abhijana. One can understand me only by devotional service, not otherwise. That understanding alone is real because although Gyanis, mental speculators, can realize only the effulgence or the bodily luster of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and yogis can realize only the partial representation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead of Bhakta, not only realizes him as he is, but also associates with the personality of Godhead face to face.
Yes. So this is the glory of devotional service that surpasses jnana, yoga. In fact, Prabhupada writes in many of his transcriptions, lectures, we read carefully, this Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama Iva Kevalam. The purport to it, Prabhupada sometimes mentions why this is Nasteva, Nasteva, Nasteva. The first Nasteva refers to not by karma. Second Nasteva refers to not by jnana. The third Nasteva refers to not by Ashtanga or yoga, but only by bhakti. One can achieve Lord. Therefore, Lord is called as Bhakti Vatsala, not Jnani or Yogi Vatsala. So this is what Prabhupada is writing here, that Lord has appeared out of causeless mercy. Sviyam vakyam shrutam artam kartum avatirnosi me grihe chikirshur bhagavan jnanam bhaktanam manavardanaha. Dinath Prabhu?
Yes, Puji. Kardama Muni said, "You, my dear Lord, who is always increasing the honor of your devotees, have descended in my home just to fulfill your word and disseminate the process of real knowledge."
So Kardama Muni is reminding Kapila Dev, Lord Kapila. He has in Shukla, as Lord Vishnu, who appeared in the Shukla form on the bank of Saraswati, that lake, which happened to come from the tears, Bindu Sarovar lake. So when Lord appeared there, that time he had promised him in 3rd canto, 21st chapter, 32nd verse, 3, 21, 32, that I will come as your son. Therefore, this descend in my home just to fulfill your word, that indicates that. Avatirno se me graha chikirshur bhagavan jnanam bhaktanam manavardanaha sviyam vakyam ritam kartum. Vakyam, sviyam vakyam, your own words, true, ratam, artam, kartum. To keep your words, like Narsingadev appeared to substantiate the words of Brahmaji, not half man, half lion. Substantiate the words of Prahlad Maharaj, Narsingadev appeared. Similarly, Kapila appeared to substantiate his words he had given to Kardama Muni. So this is the shloka which Kardama Muni is again offering back, that just to keep your words which you had given to me, to honor the devotees. So that is one way. Second, honoring the devotees is he's going to teach Tattva Samhitaha, which is going to defeat karma, jnana, and going to establish bhakti. So that is also increasing the honor of the devotees. Yes, Prabhu, you read the purport.
Yellow highlighted. Yes, he descends as the son of Kardama Muni in order to fulfill that promise to discriminate, to distribute knowledge. He who increased the honor of his devotees.
Yes, why? Because by distributing Sankhya would increase the honor of the devotees. Therefore, Sankhya is not dry mental speculation, it is philosophy of devotional service. So how could the honor of devotees be increased unless Sankhya were meant for devotional service? Yes, read Proven Blue.
And devotees are not interested in speculative knowledge. Therefore, the Sankhya enunciated by Kapil Muni is meant to establish one firmly in devotional service. Real knowledge and real liberation is to surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead and engage in devotional service.
Yes, this is theistic Sankhya. Tani evete virupani rupani bhagavamstava yani yani cha rochante svajananam arupinaha. So now, from 31 to 33, Kardama Muni is glorifying the Lord's form. And in 33, 34 is going to take a permission to renounce. So 31, 32, 33 is glorifying the Lord's form. So what is the Lord's form? He's telling here, Tani evate virupani rupani bhagavam stava yani yani cha roshante swa jananam arupina. Arupina means he is not having a material form. Sridhar Swami is writing here that his forms are not like the Mayic forms, which are temporary. His forms are eternal. So this Arupina matlab is not having, it's not impersonal, it is spiritual form. That is what Sridhar Swami writes. That is what Prabhupada quotes in the purport here. Yes, Prabhu? Next question.
My dear Lord,
yeah.
Although you have no material form, you have your own innumerable forms. They truly are your transcendental forms which are pleasing to your devotees.
Purport you can read, Puji, blue highlighted.
Yeah. The Lord is one absolute, but he has ananta or innumerable forms. Advaitam Achyutam Anadim Anantarupam. Brahma Samhita 533. The Lord is the original form, but still he has multi forms. Those multi forms are manifested by him transcendentally according to the taste of his multi devotees.
Yes. So here Prabhupada is quoting Hanumanji example. Hanumanji says that Ramchandra and Narayana are same, Lakshmi and Sita are same, but still he is attached to Ramchandra. So this is like, according to the taste of the multi devotees. It's Rojam, Sutekshita. So the Lord accepts the form which the devotee wants to see him in. Yes, Prabhu, please, you can read.
When we say Krishna, we refer to all forms of the Lord, not only Krishna, but Rama, Narasimha, Varaha, Narayana, etc. Varieties of transcendental forms exist simultaneously. That is also stated in Brahma Samhita, Ramadimurtishu, Nana Avataram. He already exists in multi forms, but none of the forms are material. Swami has commented that Arupinaha, without form, means without material form. The Lord has form, otherwise how can it be stated here, Tanyevate Avirupani Rupani Bhagavamstava. You have your forms, but they are not material. Materially, you have no form, but spiritually, transcendentally, you have multi forms. The conclusion is that the Lord has no material form, and yet, according to the liking of the different grades of devotees, he simultaneously exists in multi forms such as Rama, Nrsimha, Varaha, Narayana, and Mukunda. There are many thousands and thousands of forms, but they are all Vishnu Tattva, Krishna.
Yes. So this is the explanation about the forms of the Lord. He is not having material form, but innumerable form, and those forms which are pleasing to his devotees. So the next, Kapil Muni is glorifying the opulences of the Lord. Lord has 6 opulences. Tvam Surabhis Tattva Bhutsayadha Sada Bivadara Padapitam Aishwarya Vairagya Yasho Vabodhya Virya Shriya Purtam Aham Prapadye. So this is like exactly like the Parasar Muni's explanation of Aishwaryasya, Viryasya, Shriya, 6 opulences. But this Purtam, Virya, last time, Virya Shriya Purtam Aham Prapadye, because you carry all the 6 opulences in full, I take shelter of you. That is what, Karda Muni is praying to Kapila Deva. Yes, Prabhu?
My dear Lord, your lotus feet are the reservoir that always deserves to receive worshipful homage from all great sages, eager to understand the absolute truth. You are full in opulence, renunciation, transcendental fame, knowledge, strength, and beauty, and therefore I surrender myself unto your lotus feet.
Yes. Please read the purport, Prabhu.
Actually, those who are searching after the absolute truth must take shelter of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and worship Him.
Why? If we want to go back to Godhead, if you want to become perfect, that is written in blue here. Yes.
If you want to be perfect, just always think of me. Become my devotee, worship me, and offer your obeisances to me. In this way, you will understand me.
Yes.
The Lord
So
is
this
always...
is, yeah. So therefore, we have to take shelter of the Lord's lotus feet to go back to Godhead. That is the reason. But why only Lord's lotus feet? Because why not any other person? Because Lord is always full in 6 opulences. Purtam means in full. Yes, Prabhu, read the last line.
He is full in everything, and no one can surpass him. Another one of the Krishna's name is Asamurdhva, which means that no one is equal to or greater than him.
Yes. So the yogis take shelter of the Lord's lotus feet because Lord is Supreme Person Godhead with 6 opulences in full, and He can also bestow on us the grace of liberating us. And therefore, the yogis take shelter of His lotus feet. So that is what Prabhupada is writing here. Krishna is having all 6 opulences in full, not half. Therefore, only Krishna claims it. Nobody else has claimed it till now. So the next shloka, Karda Muni offers prayers glorifying the powers of Kapila Muni, Kapil Dev, our Lord himself. Param Pradhanam Purusham Mahantam Kalam Kavim Trivritam Lokapalam Atmanubhutyanugata Prapancham Swachanda Shaktim Kapilam Prapadhe. So Param, he's a topmost. Pradhanam, his opulences is independent. Purusham, he's a person. Mahantam, potency is amazing. Kalam, controller of time. Kavim, he is a great poet, or he is producing all Vedic literature. Vritam Lokapalam, he has control over the all material world and spiritual world. So in this way, Swachanda Shaktim Kapilam Prapadde. So Prabhupada writes, defines all these different words in Sanskrit in his purport. Yes, next devotee can read. I think Rajat Prabhu, no? Yes. Rajat Prabhu, you are there?
Yes.
Yes, please read.
I surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, descended in the form of Kapila, who is independently powerful and transcendental, who is the Supreme Person and the Lord of the sum total of matter and the element of time, who is fully cognizant, maintainer of all the universes under the three modes of material nature, and who absorbs the material manifestations after their dissolution.
Yes. You can read this highlighted.
The word Param is used in the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam in the phrase Param Satyam to refer to the Samam Bonam, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Pradhanam, which means the chief, the origin, the source of everything. Sarva Karana Karanam, the cause of all causes. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is not formless. He is Purusham, or the enjoyer, the original person. He is the time element and is all cognizant. He knows everything, past, present, and future, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. God maintains all other living entities, but no one can maintain God. That is his Swachananda Shakti. He is not dependent on others.
Yes.
Atmanu Bhutyanugata Prapancham. The Lord descends either as Kapila or Rama, Narsimha or Varha, and whatever forms he assumes in the material world are all manifestations of his own personal internal energy. They are never forms of the material energy.
Yes. So this is the explanation Prabhupada gives for his different water verses has been told here. Param, Supreme. See, he has 6 opulences, therefore is called as Param. Prabhupada writes in the first line. Therefore, 6 opulences, Karda Muni addresses Kapil Muni because he is full in 6 opulences. Pradhanam, Purusham, Kalam, Kavim, Trivartam, Lokapalam, Atmanu, Bhutyanugata, Prapancham. Whenever he appears, he is completely in internal potency. He is not accepting, he is not touching the material energy. Swachanda Shaktim, he maintains all living entities. Therefore, actually, I take shelter of you, my Supreme Lord. So, after doing all these things, in the shloka number 34, Kapila's father, Karda Muni, is asking for permission to renounce. Asma biprachedya patim prajanam tvaya vatirinarna utapta kama parivrajat padavim astitoham charishyatvam hridi yunjana vishoka. So this third line, parivrajat padavim astito ham. So he is asking for renouncing this family life. I wish to wander about free from lamentation, thinking always of you in my heart. So, yes, next devotee can read. Janardhan, please.
Today I have some things to ask for you, who are the Lord of all living entities. Since I have now been liberated by you from my debt to my Father, and since all my desires are fulfilled, I wish to accept the order of an itinerant mendicant. Renouncing this family life, I wish to wander about, free from lamentation, thinking always of you in my heart.
So, at this junction, Burijan Prabhu in his unwilling to lotus feet. Wherever I have highlighted something in yellow, na, this is everything from Burijan Prabhu's unwilling lotus feet. So at this junction, at this shloka 34, Burijan Prabhu asks a question. Now Srila Prabhu answers an interesting question. The Supreme Lord has advented in Kardam Muni's home as his son. Why did Kardam want to leave home to seek self or God realization? Why leave home when God is already present in your home? This is the question. So answer for that, Prabhupada gives in the purport. So now Supreme Lord has appeared. He was doing practicing meditation, everything. Although he wanted to become liberated to fulfill the order of Brahmaji to create progeny and expand. But now, while doing the course of action, Supreme Lord has appeared. Like Nand Maharaj was with Lord Krishna, and all the incarnations, parents were with the incarnations to relish. But Lord has appeared, and he wants to renounce and go. What is this? This is looking like something different, right? But Prabhupada answers in the purport that why Kardam Muni is telling, my dear Lord, since I have now been liberated by you from my debts to my father, because his father had instructed him, great progeny, all my desires are fulfilled because his father instructed him. He wanted to have a wife like Devuti to create offspring. That is also fulfilled. I wish to accept the order of an itinerant mendicant. That means this is not a preaching Ghoshtanandi sannyasi, but it's a sannyasi who is not going to preach. That is what Prabhupada is going to write in the purport. Renouncing this family life, I wish to wander about free from lamentation, thinking always of you in my heart. Yes. So you can read Prabhu purport. Full purport you can read actually.
Actually, sannyas or renunciation of material household life necessitates complete absorption in Krishna consciousness and immersion in the self. One does not take sannyas, freedom from family responsibility in the renounced order of life. Make another family or to create an embarrassing transition with fraud in the name of sannyas. The sannyasi's business is not to become proprietor of so many things and amass money for the innocent public, from the innocent public. A sannyasi is proud that he is always thinking of Krishna within himself. Of course, there are two kinds of devotees of the Lord. One called Vochanandi, which means those who are preachers and have many followers for preaching the glories of the Lord, and who live among those many followers just to organize missionary activity. Other devotees are and they remain there for God. In this situation was Karuna. He wanted to be free from all anxieties and remain alone within his heart with the Supreme Personality of God. Paribraja means an itinerant mendicant. A mendicant sannyasi should not live anywhere for more than 3 days. He must be always moving because his duty is to move from door to door and enlighten people about Krishna consciousness.
Yes. So the reason why Kardam Muni is living will come in the next purport. Shri Bhagavan Vacha. It has come here? No. It is coming in the next purport. Yeah, in this purport. Shri Bhagavan Vacha. Maya Proktam hi lokasya pramanam shakti laukike ata jani maya tubhyam yad avocham pritam mune. Ramavala Prabhu, I left you out. You can read this one.
The personality of Godhead, Kapila said, whatever I speak, whether directly or in the scriptures, is authoritative in all respects for the people of the world. O Muni, because I told you before that I would become your son, I have descended to fulfill this truth.
Yeah. So again, he is repeating that. 3:21:32. Because I had told you, keep the words, I'm fulfilling the thing. Yes, you can read the purport book.
The Muni was to leave his family life to completely engage in the service of Lord. But since he knew that Lord himself as Kapila had taken birth in his home as his own son, why was he preparing to leave home to search out self-relation or God relation? God himself was present in his home. Why should he leave home? Such a question may certainly arise. But here it is said that whatever is spoken in the Vedas and whatever is practiced in accordance with the injunctions of the Vedas is to be accepted as authoritative in society. Vedic authority says that a householder must leave home after his 50th year. Panchasurdam Banam Brajet. One must leave his family and enter the forest after the age of 50. This is an authoritative statement of the Vedas based on the division of social life into 4 departments of activity: Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyas. Karda Muni practiced yoga very rigidly as a brahmachari before his marriage, and he became so powerful and attained so much mystic power that his father Brahma ordered him to marry and beget children as a householder. Kardam did that also. He begot 9 good daughters, one son Kapila Muni, and thus his householder duty was also performed nicely. Now his duty was to leave. Even though he had the Supreme Personality of Godhead as his son, he had to respect the authority of the Vedas. This is very important lesson. Even if one has God in his home as his son, one should still follow the Vedic injunctions. It is stated Mahajana Jena Gatasya Pantha. One should traverse the path which is followed by great personalities. Kardamuni's example is very instructive, for in spite of having the Supreme Personality of Godhead as his son, he left home just to obey the authority of Vedic injunction. Kardamuni states here that the main purpose of leaving home while traveling all over the world as mendicant, he would always remember the Supreme Personality of Godhead within his heart, thereby be freed from all anxieties of material existence. I should continue the whole purport?
Yeah, continue.
In this age of Kali Yuga, sannyas is prohibited because persons in this age are all Sudras and cannot follow the rules and regulations of sannyas life. It is very commonly found that so-called sannyasis are addicted to nonsense, even to having private relationships with women. This is the abominable situation in this age. Although they dress themselves as sannyasis, still they cannot free themselves from the 4 principles of sinful life, namely illicit sex life, meat eating, intoxication, and gambling. Since they are not freed from these 4 principles, they are cheating the public by posing as swamis. In Kali Yuga, the injunction is that no one should accept sannyas. Of course, those who follow the rules and regulations must take sannyas. Generally, people are unable to accept sannyas life. Therefore, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stressed, Kalau nasti eva, nasti eva, nasti eva, gatiranyatha. In this case, there is no other alternative than to chant the holy name of the Lord, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Yes.
The main purpose,
This is very important here. Like I was telling, hearing is very important. So Prabhupada writes here, generally sannyasis used to think and remembering Smaranam, but here in Kali Yuga, Shravanam is very important. Yes, he's saying that. Yes, Prabhu can read.
The main purpose of sannyas life is to be in constant companionship with the Supreme Lord, either by thinking of Him within the heart or hearing of Him through oral reception. In this age, hearing is more important than thinking because one's thinking may be destroyed by mental agitation. But if one concentrates on hearing, he will be forced to associate with the sound vibration of Krishna. Krishna and the sound vibration of Krishna are non-different. So if one loudly vibrates Hare Krishna, he will be able to think of Krishna immediately. The process of chanting is the best process of self-realization in this age. Therefore, Lord Chaitanya preached it so nicely for the benefit of all humanity.
I'm sharing Vishwanath Chakravarti's commentary. Again, there's another reason he mentions. Yeah, can you read this one, Bro?
Yeah, I have been fixed in whole one or highlighted?
You read highlighted one.
Okay. I have been fixed in my Lord Narayan since birth as a servant. Now with the birth of his son, it will be hard to avoid having fatherly affection for the Lord. But the simultaneous mixture of Dasya and Vatsalya is not suitable.
Continue.
However, the independent Lord, sinking me in the ocean of lamentation, will quickly have me renounce. Why should I not immediately renounce? I will commit an offense to the Lord in giving him up when he appeared in my house, because worshipable Lord is dependent on worship according to Vaishnavas. Thus, one should have more eagerness for worshipping Lord than for Lord himself. I wish to worship him without interruption in a solitary forest 24 hours a day.
Yeah. So Prabhupada mentioning one reason to respect the Vedic authority. Thus, even though Supreme Person God appeared as his son, Kardamuni was duty bound to respect Vedic authority. After Grahastha, there is 1% sannyas. So that is very important. So for that, he took sannyas. Second reason, here has been mentioned, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is mentioning the mixture of Dasya and Vatsalya will happen. Therefore, that will be not good, because in childhood he was in the he was seeing Lord as in the Dasya Bhav. Not suddenly he can't change to Vatsalya. Like like Hanuman is telling, I know there is no difference between Sri Ram and Narayan, but still I'm attached to Narayan, Sri Ram. So similarly, Kardamuni was attached to Dasya. Therefore, he had to renounce. And the third reason is that anyway, at one point of time, I have to renounce. Time is not that I'm going to stay eternally. So let me renounce now. Why should I not immediately renounce? That will help me to even follow the Vedic instructions and also continue with my rasa. And the last thing, Vani is more important than Vapu. That one should be more eager to worship the Lord than Lord himself. So let me follow the Vani of the Lord by worshipping him without interpretation in a solitary place. So worshipping Lord is more important than just being with the Lord, or just trying to in close proximity with the Lord. So these are the 4 reasons because of which Kardamuni took renunciation. One is Vedic authority. Second is mixture of Dasya and Vatsalya. Third, anyway, time will make me renounce. Why not now? By which will be glorious, and I can continue with my bhava. And the fourth, worshipping is more important than just staying in the close proximity. This is mentioned also in your Bhagavad Subodhani, in the note there under 34th shloka. All these 4 points are mentioned there, because the Gauranga Shmupa is taken from 3 from there only, Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur. Etan me janma lokesmin mumukshunam durasayat prashankayanaya tattvanam sammatayatma darshane. Yes.
My appearance in this world is especially to explain the philosophy of Sankhya, which is highly esteemed for self-realization by those desiring freedom from the entanglement of unnecessary material desires.
Yes. Can you read the last one?
Sankhya philosophy, therefore, as stated herein by Kapil Dev, is Tattvanam. The Sankhya philosophy system is designed to afford understanding of the real truth. What is that real truth? The real truth is knowledge of how to get out of the material body, which is the source of all trouble. Lord Kapila's incarnation or descent is essentially meant for this purpose. That is clearly stated here.
Yeah. So therefore, Sankhya philosophy proposes giving here Durashayat. Dur means trouble, dukkha, misery. Basically, when you do some karma, there is ignorance, there is misery, there is illusion. Prabhupada is going writing that. It is also advancement of scientific knowledge, physicalization is only increasing the bodily comforts more and more. But the body is anyway destructible. So therefore, body is temporary. Anyway, it is destined to be destroyed. And for the soul, it is eternal. So our activity must have body. Without a body, without sense organ, there is no activity. But people are not inquiring about the body. They should inquire about the eternal body, how they can get. For that, this Sankhya philosophy is given here. So going back, this is 36th shloka. In 34th shloka, if you see carefully in the prayer, he is asking for what? Renouncing this family life, I wish to wander about free from lamentation, thinking always of you in heart. So he's asking blessings of the Lord to become a renunciate and to completely get liberation from the cycle of birth and death. Today I have got something to ask from you. What is that? I want to renounce, wander, free from lamentation, thinking of always of you in my heart. So this prayer gets completed here. So personality of Kapila is offering, is blessing him that, whatever you have spoken, that I have appeared here to keep your promise, and I'll fulfill the promise which I have given to you in 21st chapter, 32nd verse. So that is authoritative. And second, why he's appearing? He's appearing in this world to establish Sankhya philosophy, because people are ignorant of the bodily concept, soul, and they are completely stupid in bodily concept. This is the shloka. My appearance is for giving the principles of self-realization for those desiring freedom from material desires. And 37th shloka, he is going to speak about to revive Sankhya. This path was lost in time. I have come to revive this knowledge of Sankhya. Like Lord Shri Krishna also says in 4th chapter that Sakalena Mahata Yoga Nashta Parantapaha. So Lord Kapila Dev is answering the prayers of Kardama. So 3 reasons for my appearance: to keep the promise which I have given to you, so that it is authoritative. Whatever I speak, whether directly or in the scriptures, is authoritative. I appeared as your son. That was my promise. And second was appearance to establish Sankhya, to give people liberation. And third, to revive the Sankhya. It's not that Sankhya was not there, it was there, but again I have to revive it back. Therefore, this is Shloka 37th. Esha Atma Pato Vekto Nashtakalena Bhuyasa Tam Pravartayitum Deham Imam Vidhi Maya Bhratam. Yes.
This path of self-realization, which is difficult to understand, has now been lost in the course of time. Please know that I have assumed this body of Kapila to introduce and explain this philosophy to human society again.
Yes, Prabhu. You can read this highlighted one.
It is not true that Sankhya philosophy is a new system of philosophy introduced by Kapila. As material philosopher introduced new kinds of mental speculative thought to supersede that of another philosopher. Sakalineha Mahata, Yoga Nashta. In course of time, the yoga system as stated in Bhagavad Gita was lost. It was coming in parampara, in disciplic succession. But due to the passage of time, it was lost. The time factor is so pressing that in the course of time, everything within this material world is spoiled or lost. Kapila also said that the system of Sankhya philosophy was not exactly being introduced by him. It was already current, but in course of time, it was mysteriously lost, and therefore he appeared to introduce it. That is the purpose of the incarnation of Godhead. Yada yada hi dharmasya glani bhavati bharata. How one can get out of miserable condition of material life is stated in Sankhya philosophy, and the Lord himself is explaining this sublime system.
Yes. So in the 3 reasons for Lord appearance is there. That whatever he speaks in scriptures, whatever promise he gives is authoritative. His appearance for emanating Sankhya, and Sankhya was not something new, he has appeared to revive. So now in 38 to 39, next 2 shlokas, he is giving instructions to Kardama. So what instruction is given to Kardama? He told the reason why, because Lord Kapila has appeared, Kardama Muni is alone, he is offering prayer, he has offered the prayers, you understood all the reasons. Why Kardama Muni wants to live despite Kapil Muni appearing as son, 4 reasons you understood. Then Kapil Dev has answered 3 reasons for his appearance: authoritative, Sankhya, and third is to revive the Sankhya. Now, Kardam Muni in the Shloka 34, he has prayed, I ask for a boon that let me become an itinerant mendicant and accept sannyas and remember even seclusion. So, he is going to offer Ashirvachana, bless him for that execution of that duty. He knows because Kardam Muni has done so much for him. Like if you know Ishaprasha Shloka, Manu is offering, Swayambhu Muni is offering to Yagya. You have learned in Bhakti Shastri. At the last is telling, please remember all my sacrifices, what I have done before leaving this body, so that I can go back to Godhead. Similarly, Kardam Muni is living Grihastha, is graduating from Grihastha ashram to Sannyas ashram. So he's taking his blessings because eventually you want to get liberated and go back home, back to Godhead. And therefore, Kapil Muni or Kapil Dev, he understands the mentality of Kardam Muni, and he's 38, he is assuring him that he will get liberated. In 39, he is assuring that he will teach Tattva Samhita to Devhuti, and he will award the spiritual benefit which Kardama was giving her and which she could not take. The previous yesterday we were discussing 55-57, lamentation of Devhuti. She was saying, Neyat karma dharmaya na viragaya na tirthapada sevaya jivanapi matobisa. Sango samsumtar hetur. Without knowingly one associates a liberated person, one gets benefit. So that spiritual award I am going to give to Dehuti. That is in 38, that is in 39. So 38 is telling, Gaccha kamam maya prishto mayi sanyasta karmana jitva sudar jayam mrityum amrutatvaya mambaja. So what will happen? Jitva sudarjayam mrityum. After your death, you'll become eternal, conquering insurmountable death. Worship me for eternal life. So this is a blessing he is giving to his father, Kardamuni. Yes, Prabhu. Can you read?
Now being sanctioned by me, go as you desire, surrendering all your activities to me, conquering insurmountable death, worship me for eternal life.
Yes, please read the purport.
The purpose of Sankhya philosophy is stated herein. If anyone wants real eternal life, he has to engage himself in devotional service or Krishna consciousness. To become free from birth and death is not an easy task. Birth and death are natural to this material body. Sudurjayam means very, very difficult to overcome. The modern so-called scientists do not have sufficient means to understand the process of victory over birth and death. Therefore, they set aside the question of birth and death. They do not consider it. They simply engage in the problems of the material body, which is transient and sure to end. Actually, human life is meant for conquering the insurmountable process of birth and death. That can be done as stated here. Mam bhaja. One must engage in the devotional service of the Lord. In Bhagavad Gita also, the Lord says, Man mana bhavamad bhaktaha. Just become my devotee. Just worship me. But foolish so-called scholars say that it is not Krishna whom we must worship and to whom we must surrender. It is something else. Without Krishna's mercy, therefore, no one can understand the Sankhya philosophy or any philosophy which is especially meant for liberation. Vedic knowledge confirms that one becomes entangled in this material life because of ignorance, and that one can become free from material embarrassment by becoming situated in factual knowledge. Sankhya means that factual knowledge by which one can get out of the material entanglement.
Yeah. So Kapil Muni is telling, now I'm giving sanction. Go as you desire, surrendering all your activities, conquering insurmountable death, worship me for eternal life. So he's sanctioning his sannyas. But not only he told that I want to take sannyas, but also I want to come back home, back to Godhead. So for that, in 39, he's reassuring his father, Kardamuni, Mam Atmanam Swayam Jyoti Sarvabhuta Goyashayam Atmannevatmana Viksha Vishoka Bhayam Ratchasi.
In your own heart, through your intellect, you will always see me, the supreme self-effulgent soul dwelling within the hearts of all living entities. Thus you will achieve the state of eternal life, free from all lamentation and fear.
Yes. So here in 39, Kapil Dev is confirming the process Kardam had suggested would award him the desired result. So what will happen? He will achieve the state of eternal life, free from all lamentation and fear. The process will be fruitful. And what he will do, he will be able to see all living entities in the Lord and the Lord in all living entities. That perfection also he will get. That is what Lord is again assuring him in 39. Yes, Prabhu. You can read the purport quickly.
People are very anxious to understand the absolute truth in various ways, especially by experiencing the Brahm Jyoti or Brahman effulgence, by meditation and by mental speculation. But Kapil Dev uses the word Mam to emphasize that the personality of Godhead is the ultimate feature of the absolute truth. In Bhagavad Gita, the personality of Godhead always says Mam unto me, but the rascals misinterpret the clear meaning. Mam is the supreme personality of Godhead. If one can see the supreme personality of Godhead as he appears in different incarnations and understand that he has not assumed a material body but is present in his own eternal spiritual form, then one can understand the nature of personality of Godhead. Since the less intelligent cannot understand this point, it is stressed everywhere again and again. Simply by seeing the form of the Lord as he presents himself by his own internal potency as Krishna or Rama or Kapila, one can directly see the Brahma Jyoti, because the Brahma Jyoti is no more than the effulgence of his bodily luster. Since the sunshine is the luster of the sun planet, by seeing the sun, one automatically sees the sunshine. Similarly, by seeing the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one simultaneously sees and experiences the Paramatma feature as well as the impersonal Brahman feature of the Supreme. The Bhagavatam has already enunciated that the absolute truth is present in three features. In the beginning as the impersonal Brahman, in the next stage as Paramatma in everyone's heart, and at last is the ultimate realization of the absolute truth, Bhagwan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One who sees the Supreme Person can automatically realize the other features, namely the Paramatma and Brahman feature of the Lord. The word used here are Visoko Abhayam Richati. Simply by seeing the personality of Godhead, one realizes everything, and the result is that one becomes situated on the platform where there is no lamentation and no fear. These can be attained simply by devotional service to the personality of Godhead.
Kapil Dev has assured his father the process is right, 38th, and he will get success in 39. He will get the desired result. He will be able to see Kshirodaksha Vishnu in all living entities and all living entities in Karanodaksha Vishnu Mahavishnu. That will come again in 47th, 46th verse. And 40th verse, because Kardam Muni has married Dehuti. Now what will happen to Dehuti? Because that thought should not come in Kardam Muni's mind. Because Lord has appeared, but Lord should speak Tattva Samhita and also deliver her. So for that, before that thought comes, Kapil Dev is offering second boon, benediction or Ashirvachan to Kardam Muni. Matra Adhyatmikim Vidyam Samanim Sarva Karmanam Vitarishe Yaya Chashau Bayam Chatitarishyate. Matra Mother Adhyatmikam Vidyam Tattva Samhita Samanim Sarva Karmana. So I shall describe this sublime knowledge. Yes, Prabhu, we can read next devotee.
I shall also describe this sublime knowledge, which is the door to spiritual life, to my mother, so that she also can attain perfection and self-realization, ending all reactions to fruitive activity. Thus, she also will be freed from all material fear.
Yes. So in Bhagavatam, 23rd chapter 51 to 57, Devoti requested Kardama to avoid fearlessness. And Kardama replied in this chapter 24, second verse, that Lord is going to appear and will fulfill that promise and give you fearlessness and spirituality. Again, now in 40th verse, Kapil Muni is reassuring that my mother, so that she also can attain perfection, self-realization, ending all reactions to fruitive activities. So Devahuti is asking Kardam Muni is assuring Devahuti, remembering the promise in 21st chapter, that is again repeated by Kapil Muni to Kardam Muni, that I will fulfill that promise. You can go ahead with your practice. I will take care. Yes, Prabhu, we can read this one. Purport.
Kardam Muni was anxious about his good wife Devhuti while leaving home, and so the worthy son promised that not only would Kardam Muni be freed from the material entanglement, but Devhuti would also be freed by receiving instruction from her son. A very good example is set here. The husband goes away taking the sannyas order for self-realization, but his representative, the son, who is equally educated, remains at home to deliver the mother. A sannyasi is not supposed to take his wife with him. At the vanprastha stage of retired life, retired life, or the stage midway between householder life and renounced life, one may keep his wife as an assistant without sex relations. But in the sannyas order of life, one cannot keep his wife with him. Otherwise, a person like Kardam Muni could have kept his wife with him, and there would have been no hindrance to his prosecution of self-realization. Kardam Muni followed the Vedic injunction that no one in sannyas life can have any kind of relationship with woman. But what is the position of a woman who is left by her husband? She is entrusted to the son, and the son promises that he will deliver his mother from entanglement. A woman is not supposed to take sannyas. So-called spiritual societies concocted in modern times give sannyas even to women, although there is no sanction in the Vedic literature for a woman's accepting sannyas. Otherwise, if it were sanctioned, Kardam Muni could have taken his wife and given her sannyas. The woman must remain at home. She has only 3 stages of life: dependency on the father in childhood, dependency on the husband in youth, and in old age, dependency on the grown up son, such as Kapil. In old age, the progress of women depends on the grown up son. The ideal son, Kapil Muni, is assuring his father of the deliverance of his mother so that his father may go peacefully without anxiety for his good wife.
Yes. So now Kapil Muni has shared his blessings, his assurance. Now what is next is 41 onwards, Kardam Muni's renunciation. The topic is, the chapter name is Kardam Muni renounces, renunciation of Kardam Muni. That will happen now from 41 to 47. Maitri vacha evam samoditastena kapilena prajapati dakshini krityatam prito vanam eva jagamaha vanam. He went to the forest. Yes, Prabhu.
Sri Maitreya said, thus when Kardam Muni, the progenitor of society, was spoken to in fullness by his son Kapila, he circumvented him, and with good pacified mind, he at once left for the forest.
Yes, you can read the purport.
Going to the forest is compulsory for everyone. It is not a mental excursion upon which one person goes and another does not. Everyone should go to the forest at least as one person. Forest going means to take 100% shelter of the Supreme Lord, as explained by Prahlad Maharaj in his talks with his father. Sada Samadvegna Dhyam. People who have accepted a temporary material body are always full of anxieties. One should not therefore be very much affected by this material body, but should try to be freed. The preliminary process to become freed is to go to the forest or give up family relationships and exclusively engage in Krishna consciousness. That is the purpose of going to the forest. Otherwise, the forest is only a place of monkeys and wild animals. To go to the forest does not mean become monkey or a ferocious animal. It means to accept exclusively the shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and engage oneself in full service. One does not actually have to go to the forest. At the present moment, this is not at all advisable for a man who has spent his life all along in big cities. As explained by Prahlad Maharaj, Hitvatmapatam Grihamandakupam, one should not remain always engaged in the responsibility of family life. Because family life without Krishna consciousness is just like a blind well. Alone in a field, if one falls into a blind well and no one is there to save him, he may cry for years and no one will see or hear where the crying is coming from. Death is sure. Similarly, those who are forgetful of their eternal relationship with the Supreme Lord are in the blind well of family life. Their position is very ominous. Prahlad Maharaj advised that one should give up this well somehow or other and take to Krishna consciousness and thus be freed from material entanglement, which is full of anxieties.
Yes. Vratam sa ashito maunam atmaika sharano muni nisango vacharat kshonim anagnir aniketana. So in 41, Kardama, what he did, spoke to in fullness by his son, circumambulated him. He did the circumambulation of Kapil Dev, and with good pacified mind, he at once left for the forest. So here in 42, what is mentioned, he accepts a Maun Vrat. In 41, he circumambulated and left to the forest. In 42, he has accepted the Maun Vrat. Yes, Dinath, true?
The sage Kadam accepted silence as a vow in order to think of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and take shelter of him exclusively. Without association, he traveled over the surface of the globe as a sannyasi, devoid of any relationship with fire or shelter.
Yes. Padhiye Prabhuji.
But here the word Angit, Agnair, and Aniketana are very significant. A sannyasi should completely detach from fire and any residential quarters. A grihastha has a relationship with the fire, either for offering sacrifice or for cooking. But the sannyasi is free from these two responsibilities. He does not have to cook or offer fire to sacrifice because he is always engaged in Krishna consciousness. Therefore, he has already accomplished all ritualistic performance of religion. Aniketanaha means without lodging. He should not have his own house, but should depend completely on the Supreme Lord for his food and lodging. He should travel. Maunam means silence. Unless one becomes silent, he cannot think completely about the pastime and activities of the Lord. It is not that because one is a fool and cannot speak nicely, he therefore takes the vow of Maun. Rather, one becomes silent so that people will not disturb him. It is said by Chanakya Pandit that a rascal appears very intelligent as long as he does not speak, but speaking in is the test. The so-called silence of a silent, impersonate Swami indicates that he has nothing to say. He simply wants to beg. But the silence adopted by the Kardamuni was not like that. He became silent for the relief from the nonsensical talk. One is called a Moni when he remains grave and does not talk nonsense. Maharaj Ambrish set a very good example. Whenever he spoke about the pastime of the Lord. Mauna necessitates refraining from nonsensical talking and engaging the talking facility in the pastime of the Lord. In that way, one can chant and hear about the Lord in order to perfect his life. Vratam means that one should take a vow as explained in Bhagavad Gita. Ananitvam, adhavitvam, without hankering for personal respect and without being proud of one's material position. Ahimsa means not being violent. There are 18 processes for attaining knowledge and perfection. And by his vow, Kardamuni adopted all the principle of self-realization. Yes. So this Mauna means speaking only Krishna consciousness and not attracting fools who waste time. So that is what in 42nd Kardamuni did it. So 43rd. Mano Brahmani Yunjano Yattat Sad Asat Param Asatah Param Gunava Bhashe Viguna Eka Bhaktyanu
He fixed his mind upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Parabrahman, who is beyond cause and effect, who manifests the three modes of material nature, who is beyond those three modes, and who is perceived only through unfailing devotional service.
Basically, the 43rd verse speaks about fixing the mind. He did a circumambulation, contemplated Maunavrat for focusing, and then with that contemplation, he is fixing Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi. So this is like Dharana process now. Yes. Yes, Prabhuji, please read.
Whenever there is bhakti, there must be three things present: the devotee, devotion, and the Lord. Without these three, Bhakta, Bhakti, and Bhagavan, there is no meaning to the word Bhakti. Kardamuni fixed his mind on Supreme Brahman and realized him through Bhakti, the devotional service. This indicates that he fixed his mind on the personal feature of the Lord because Bhakti cannot be executed unless one has realization of the personal feature of the Absolute Truth. Gunava Bhase. He is beyond the three modes of material nature, but it is due to him that the three modes of material nature are manifested. In other words, although the material energy is an emanation of the Supreme Lord, he is not affected as we are by the modes of material nature. We are conditioned souls, but he is not affected, although the material nature has emanated from him. He is the supreme living entity and is never affected by Maya. But we are subordinate minute living entities prone to be affected by limitations of Maya. If he is in constant contact with the Supreme Lord by devotional service, the conditioned living entity also becomes freed from the infection of Maya. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, Sagunan Samatityatam, Bhagavad Gita 14:26. A person engaged in Krishna consciousness is at once liberated from the influence of three modes of material nature. In other words, once the conditioned soul engages himself in devotional service, he also becomes liberated like the Lord.
So in 44th verse, the Kardamuni becomes free of false ego. Because here it's mentioning, in other words, once the conditioned soul engages in devotional service, he also becomes liberated. Therefore, liberation means liberation from false ego. So the next shloka speaks about Nirankriti Nirmamascha Nirdvandva Samadrika Svadrak Pratyak Prashanta Dhira Prashanto Mir Ivo Dadi. He becomes free from the false ego. 44th. Yes.
Thus, he gradually became unaffected by the false ego of material identity and became free from material affection, undisturbed, equal to everyone, and without duality. He could indeed see himself also. His mind was turned inward and was perfectly calm, like an ocean unagitated by waves.
Yes, to read the purport.
When one's mind is in full Krishna consciousness and one fully engages in rendering devotional service to the Lord, he becomes just like an ocean unagitated by waves. This very example is also cited in Bhagavad Gita. One should become like the ocean. The ocean is filled by many thousands of rivers, and millions of tons of its water evaporates into clouds. Yet the ocean is the same unagitated ocean. The laws of nature may work, but if one is fixed in devotional service at the lotus feet of the Lord, he is not agitated or he is introspective. He does not look outside to material nature, but he looks into the spiritual nature of his existence with a sober mind. He simply engages in the service of the Lord. Thus, he realizes his own self without false identification with matter and without affection for material possessions. Such a great devotee is never in trouble with others because he sees everyone from the platform of spiritual understanding. He sees himself and others in the right perspective.
Yes. So therefore, in this case, he become liberated. Kardamuni has become liberated now. So next, Vasudeva Bhagavati Sarvagnya Pratyak Atmani Parena Bhakti Bhavena Labdatma Mukta Bandhanaha. Yes.
He thus became liberated from conditioned life and became self-situated in transcendental devotional service to the personality of Godhead Vasudeva, the omniscient super soul within everyone.
Yeah, we can read the purport, Pooji.
When one engages in the transcendental devotional service of the Lord, one becomes aware that his constitutional position as an individual soul is to be eternally a servitor of the Supreme Lord, Vasudeva. Self-realization does not mean that because the Supreme Soul and the individual soul are both souls, they are equal in every respect. The individual soul is prone to be conditioned and the Supreme Soul is never conditioned. When the conditioned soul realizes that he is subordinate to the Supreme Soul, his position is called Labdhatma, self-realization, or Mukta Bandhan, freedom from material contamination. Material contamination continues as long as one thinks that he is as good as the Supreme Lord or is equal with him. This condition is the last snare of Maya. Maya always influences the conditioned soul, even after much meditation and speculation. If one continues to think himself one with the Supreme Lord, it is to be understood that he is still in the last snares of the spell of Maya. The word parena is very significant. Para means transcendental, untinged by material contamination, full consciousness that one is an eternal servant of the Lord is called Parabhakti. If one has any identification with material things and executes devotional service for attainment of some material gain, that is Vida Bhakti, contaminated Bhakti. One can actually become liberated by execution of Parabhakti. Another word mentioned here is Sarvagna. The super soul sitting within the heart is all cognizant. He knows. I may forget my past activity due to the change of body, but because the Supreme Lord as Paramatma is sitting within me, he knows everything. Therefore, the result of my past karma or past activities is awarded to me. I may forget, but he awards me suffering or enjoyment for the misdeeds or good deeds of my past life. One should not think that he is freed from reaction because he has forgotten the actions of his past life. Reactions will take place, and what kind of reactions there will be is judged by the super soul, the witness.
Yes. So in the 45th, 44th, he became free from false ego. In 45th, he is becoming liberated. The 46th, Lord is repeating the same statement which he spoke to Kardam Muni in 3rd canto, 21st chapter, 32nd verse. What he told, 31 verse. He told that I will grant you vision. In the 21st chapter, he told, I will showing compassion to all as householder, giving fearless to all as sannyasi, will pursue yourself and the universe in me and myself in you. That vision he had forecasted in 31st verse in the 21st chapter, 3rd canto, 21st chapter, 31st verse. When Lord appeared on the Bindu Sarovar, in 31st verse, he is told that he will get a particular vision. So Kardam Muni is getting that vision now in the 46th verse. Atmanam sarva bhuteshu bhagavantam avasthitam apashyat sarva bhutani bhagavat api chatmani. Yes.
He began to see that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is seated in everyone's heart, and that everyone is existing on him because he is super soul of everyone. Purport. That everyone is existing on the Supreme Personality of Godhead does not mean that everyone is also Godhead. This is also explained in Bhagavad Gita. Everything is resting on him, the Supreme Lord, but that does not mean that the Supreme Lord is also everywhere. This mysterious position has to be understood by highly advanced devotees. There are three kinds of devotees: the neophyte devotee, the intermediate devotee, and the advanced devotee. The neophyte devotee does not understand the techniques of devotional service, but simply offers devotional service to the deity in the temple. The intermediate devotee understands who God is, who is a devotee, who is a non-devotee, and who is innocent, and he deals with such persons differently. But a person who sees that the Lord is sitting as Paramatma in everyone's heart, and that everything is depending and existing on the transcendental energy of the Supreme Lord, is in the highest devotional position.
Yeah. So Vishwanath Chakravarti writes for this commentary, Atmanam sarva bhuteshu. In all living entities is Atma. So he could get the glimpse of Shirodakshaya Vishnu and Bhagavantam avasthitam. And all living entities are situated in Bhagavanta. Therefore, he could see Karanodakshaya Vishnu, who is the source of all the universes. So Madhvacharya writes this same thing in Ishopanishad 4th, 5th shloka, not 4th, 5th shloka. It is Ishopanishad 6th shloka, Atmanyevana Pashyatihi. There he mentions about three kinds of devotees: Uttamadikari, Madhyamadikari, Kanishtadikari. And the shloka I'll just read because we're ending this is the last shloka now. Mantra 6 from Ishopanishad. Yastu sarvani bhutani atmannevanu pashyati sarvabhuteshu chatmanam tato na vijugupsate. He who systematically sees everything in relation to the Supreme Lord, who sees all living entities as his part and parcel, and who sees the Supreme Lord within everything, never hates anything or any being. So here Prabhupada writes in the purport about Kanishta, Madhyama, Uttama. Same thing is writing here in this verse also. So that which is coming in Ishopanishad Mantra 6, that vision of Mahabhagavat which we studied in Bhakti Shastri. So now Kardam Muni has become the Mahabhagavat. So he is getting that vision before leaving his body. So Vishwan Chakra Thakur writes in his purport, this his super soul in all living entities, he got the glimpse of Shivadaksha Vishnu and Bhagavanta Mastitam, that all living entities and the world are on Lord, that is Karanadaksha Vishnu. This is like same from Ishwapanishad Mantra 6 of Mahabhagavat vision. And Madhvacharya also writes in the purport to that Mahabhagavat vision that Lord in all living entities shows that how Shivadaksha Vishnu is controlling the whole world as Paramatma, and all living entities on the Lord. How Karanadaksha Vishnu is a support for the whole material creation. So Lord in all living entities is controller, and the living entities on the Lord is a support. It's not that living entities have become God. So controller and Lord is a support. That is what Madhvacharya writes in the commentary for this shloka of Ishwapanishad Mantra 6. Last shloka, we are ending with this. Ichchadvesha vihinena sarvatra samachetasa bhagavad bhakti yuktena prapta bhagavati gati. Yes, Prabhu.
Free from all hatred and desire, Karda Muni being useful to everyone, because of discharging uncontaminated devotional service, ultimately attained the path back to God. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, only by devotional service can one understand the transcendental nature of the Supreme Lord. And after understanding Him perfectly in His transcendental position, enter into the kingdom of God. The process of entering into the kingdom of God is Tripad Bhutikati. Tripad Bhutikati, or the path back home, back to Godhead, by which one can attain the ultimate goal of life. Karda Muni, by his perfect devotional knowledge and service, achieved this ultimate goal, which is known as Bhagavati Gati. Thus, hence, the Bhakti and the purpose of the third canto, 24th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled The Renunciation of Karda Muni.
Yes. So, although Karda Muni approached Lord for material benefit, by the blessings of the Lord, by blessings of Brahmaji, Karda Muni became a Mahabhagavat and he gave birth to Lord Kapila. He became a medium instrument and he went back home, back to God. So, thank you so much for assembling and giving me this opportunity. So, I myself could dwell on the purpose of Prabhupada very deeply in this last 2-3 sessions. So, we'll conclude here. It's already 1:40. If any of you have any comments, questions, you can. Otherwise, we'll end now. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Sakshi Adit Prabhu. We are extremely grateful to you for extending on behalf of our batch. So we'd like to thank you for an in-depth study from Unveiling Lotus Feet, from Vishwanath Chakra Thakur, from Ishwapanishad, all different angles to well deep into, especially the 24th chapter is quite a, 23rd is a quite a, reading that chapter is a quite a tough chapter for brahmacharis, especially dealing with marriage, dealing with the different aspects. Sorry, because of background sound noises, you might be getting disturbed, but so we'd like to thank you. So by expressing loudly chanting 3 times, Hari Bol,
Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
In all of your service. Therefore, I was more happy to read all this section. So therefore, I got benefited. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Gaur Bhaktavrinda ki Jai. Vanchakalpadru Vyasya Kripasingham Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo
Namo Namaha.